Well, hello everyone. How's it going so far today? It's hump day. Happy Wednesday, or whatever. Do people say happy hump day anymore? I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of thing that you say when you work in an office. I technically work in an office, but I work by myself, so I don't need to say dumb shit like that to my coworkers. Anyway, hi. Let's see. YouTube is bumping today. YouTube chat is where it's at. I don't see anybody in the website chat. Y'all gotta pump up these numbers. Yes, Ancom Jane appropriately points out that you should boop the like button because it's free. It's free, it's quick, it's easy, it immediately helps the show. We want to get more and more and more people in here for our Just Chatting streams, breaking away from this channel identity where we have to constantly talk about politics all the time. We will talk about politics, but only because I feel like it, not because it's the only way to market my channel. Yes, John Bainbridge has booped the button, indeed. Hello, Mosh, finally making it on time, yeah. Sophie, hello. Unsubscribedly, Nikki Star. How do? Oh, okay. There are a couple people on the website chat. All right, there they are. There they are. We got Naomi. We got Actual Goth, who's not an Actual Goth, and we got Nuvenal. We got Psycho Plebalian. I'm here, but I'm working. Sad, indeed. Oh gosh, this is me showing up for my shift. You know, this is me returning to the content mines. I do sometimes when I'm about to get started working. I'm like zug zug. Good morning, indeed, Liz K. I reciprocate your energy. Silly little guys should be booped. Yeah, the like button is a silly little guy. And he needs a little boop right on his little nose. Boop the like button. That's not part of my branding here. I don't really have like a, you know, oh, I'm a bass channel. I slap the bass, therefore slap the like button. I don't have anything like that, unfortunately. Cynical Lemonade, hello. I'm not a goth either, but sometimes I wish I was. I mean, the thing is that it's so easy to at least be a part-time goth, right? I'm so lazy most of the time, but when I feel like it, I'm like, boom. I am now wearing a pentacle. I don't know, like whatever the thing is, whatever qualifies as goth style. It's very easy to get into. Joyful Nomad, hello. Christine, hello. I've just seen a version of Abigail Thorne's The Prince at a Nottingham theater. Nice. That's fun. I do feel like I should eventually get Nebula, at least buy a month of Nebula and then crash through all of the exclusive content that I want to see. Oh my god. I just have this one hair that's like, hello, I want to be in your mouth and in your eyeball. All right, great. It is tough to be a goth if you're a person who has a hard time with overheating. I will say that's the one kind of barrier to entry. Most of my gothness happens inside my house, you know? I'm not necessarily like going places with my goth look. If anything, so I'm really actually considering basically having, okay, you buy clothes and they suck, right? Everybody experiences this. You buy clothes and they fall apart, or they don't fit right, or whatever. Like, they suck. They're not fun. They're not good. So I think part of the problem is it's the Terry Pratchett boots problem, where we're all out here buying, you know, a $20 pair of shoes that, of course, falls apart in a year because they're shitty, like they just are. Versus, you know, if you buy one pair of boots for $100, that pair of boots might last you 20 years. Now I'm using old people framework because that's not true anymore, of course. If we dial back the inflation a little bit, you can kind of understand the metaphor. So I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I want to make investments. I want to buy a good pair of shoes. I want to start buying like high quality clothing. And I'm like, what are my priorities? You know, I want clothing that's like easy to move in, sure, but like I don't want to overheat in it. I want it to be like tough and resistant. I'm gonna try to become a person who hikes. I know that it's maybe not something that this particular crowd is interested in, and maybe it's like kind of weird to be like, I'm a disabled person who streams as my job because I have such a hard time with my health and getting around and especially getting around outside. But that's the thing, is like, can I push myself to the place where I can go for hiking and be that person? So I'm thinking like, okay, I want clothes that could resist like a snake bite, or could protect my skin and also not get torn to shit if I accidentally get caught on like a thorny something, right? So hiking clothes. Am I about to be a person who basically just makes it my usual day-to-day aesthetic to look like a park ranger? I think that's kind of the direction that I'm headed right now. Just park ranger all the time. If I could be goth, again, it's the temperatures, you know? Is this just like a forest witch goth mode? Like, can I invent that? Can I invent forest witch goth who doesn't have to wear black all the time? Can I wear like dark hunter greens and be a forest goth? That's what I want. That's where I feel like my niche is. I feel like not going outside is very goth. Fair enough, Ethan. Ian, sorry. I don't know where Ethan came from. That's a great point. Um, yeah. But yeah, I have to wear black clothes in order to be goth. Well, then it's not going to happen in public very often unless it's winter. Winter time. Ooh, I'm excited for winter. But that's the kind of thing that you can only say when you're in the middle of summer. Is that what cottagecore is? Is cottagecore forest goth? I've not really thought of cottagecore as being like a goth subculture, but maybe they're sisters, they're related. They're cousins at the very minimum. IDK, where to get clothes? I would say usually start at the thrift store. I'm thinking about going to the thrift store and going through some clothes, but it's like, yeah, is this cute? Is it the right style? Does it fit? And also, is it made of polyester? Because I'm not doing polyester. You could try cyber goth with neon, lots of colors. Ooh, neon, not really my bag of tea, but I appreciate from a distance. It's funny how every time I join the chat, we talk about goth here, especially since your last goth stream. Listen, I don't know. We're just talking about whatever. And especially talking about stuff that doesn't matter, okay? Listen, goth does not have anything to do with anything. Who gives a shit, right? And maybe that's annoying to some people, and I completely understand. But also, maybe you just need, like, to talk about some inane shit that doesn't matter for like 2 hours, right? Because I am going to die. Dude, I've been feeling so good the last few days. And I don't know what exactly has changed, but like, it's probably a combination of things. I have been trying to gradually introduce exercise. So I think I told you guys I have my little recumbent bike. Like, it's just some foot pedals with a little magnetic counter that keeps track of like how long you've been going and how many times you've turned the pedals. I just put that next to my bed. So I wake up in the morning, and it's not every day, but like often enough, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to do this for like 30 minutes in the morning. And then my partner and I went on a walk a few nights ago. And like that day, I was like, man, I've been feeling really good all day. Like, I haven't had any crazy symptoms. My disabilities have not been rearing their heads. I've been actually feeling kind of productive. So I think that this is like a thing that has been gradually happening, where I'm like gradually feeling better. And that day was just like, wow, I feel awesome. And I went on a really long walk with my partner that had hills and stuff. Like, it was basically like a little mini hike. And I felt fine, like tired, and like more hungry the next day. But I've been feeling like really good and really productive. I was talking about this in the Discord earlier, so if you're hearing me repeat myself, I'm sorry. And I also posted a little bit about it on Patreon, but I have been feeling like I'm getting more stuff done, and I think part of that is I've been trying to reduce my time on social media, because I get stuck with it more often than I would like to admit. Like, as a person who works for myself, I get stuck scrolling. Like, usually I don't give myself too much shit if I like spend an hour trying to get out of bed in the morning, right? My symptoms are worse in the morning. I'm sitting there trying to hydrate and trying to get my system up and running. Whatever, doesn't really matter. Okay, did you guys see my vines? I've wrapped vines around my microphone stand thingy, so that's cute, right? Anyway, my favorite streams are actually these ones where you talk about nothing. Good. I'm excited. I'm happy. Oh no, I have now forgotten what I was in the middle of saying. Getting things done. Productivity. I have a hard time with productivity because I get stuck in doom cycles of scrolling. Even like, I started a new Instagram where I'm like, I do not follow any politics over here. Okay, so even if I do spend time scrolling on that Instagram account, I'm like, okay, mostly just seeing local stuff. Like, oh, maybe something about a wildfire just because they happen in my local area now. I mean, they happened before, I guess. Just more often now. And then, like, at some point, my Instagram feed runs out of stuff that I've actually followed, and then I just start watching, like, 1-minute movie clips for a while. So that's not entirely a solution to my scrolling problem, but it is at least scrolling not a doom scroll situation, which I think is critically important. Now, I do have my blue sky still, and I make the mistake of getting stuck on Blue Sky sometimes. But I'm having like a minimum amount of being informed. I'm scrolling past things that I'm like, I can't deal with that. That's emotionally traumatic and I can't deal with it. And I'm just like, whoop, I don't have any idea what that was. Don't know. So that's helped, I think. I think that's been a big part of it. And I'm trying to reduce the total amount of time that I spend scrolling. Because, of course, if you're like, oh, I've run out of things that I actually follow and now it's just showing me random movie things, well, at least I can get off of here feeling like I have given myself permission to do a little bit of scrolling. I feel informed now because I caught up to date with, like, anything locally happening. I follow a bunch of local channels. Yeah, so that, I think, has been part of just, like, a reduction in stress. Is getting off of the social media and limiting the time on there and like changing what I'm consuming. And then there's also this like, I have this problem, and maybe you can relate to this problem, but if I'm doing something that is mindlessly enjoyable, whether that's scrolling or watching TV or whatever, like playing a game, whatever it is you're doing, if you feel like you're doing something kind of mindlessly enjoyable, there's this nagging feeling like you should stop and go do the thing that you're supposed to be doing, right? So like for me, right now, at least, that thing that I'm supposed to be doing is writing my Mulan video. Because I haven't written anything more on it since the last time I talked about it here on stream. Like I think we talked about it on Sunday. I added to it like Friday, and I haven't touched it since then. So there's always this feeling like, oh man, there's this thing I should be doing. Or maybe like right now I'm also trying to figure out how to use YouTube Shorts. Like I want to like think of what are some cool things that I do specifically for YouTube Shorts instead of just clipping from my longer videos. How can I use this to functionally advertise the channel? But that's still like a work thing, you know? So I think that what happens is I have that feeling of like I should be doing that thing, and that makes it harder to stop scrolling because I feel like it's almost like a punishment at the end where it's like I've been scrolling and I have to stop and go do this super duper important work thing. At least for me, that's how I feel. Like the Mulan video, I'm like, that's it should be the number one thing on my ticket every day. I shouldn't really do anything else unless I've worked on that at least a little bit, right? Because how frequently I post videos matters. You know, I don't know how many views this video is going to get. So if I end up putting like 3 weeks of effort into this video, or like 3 weeks of intermittent effort in this video, is it going to flop? And then my like one upload in July is going to be a shitty performing video, whatever. There's pressure to do things in a certain way. But I'm trying to be a little bit more like, okay, it's okay for me to do some other things and get some other things done. Because what has been happening is I'm like, that pressure to work on the Mulan video so I am avoiding that. And because you get stuck in the dopamine cycle with whatever you're scrolling, then it's like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm really feeling an avoidance about doing this. So it's easy to get stuck doing this other thing because I feel like if I stop scrolling, then the thing that I must do is work on the video. And this just ends up with huge chunks of my time being wasted. So now I'm trying to like, okay, I'm gonna just do literally anything else. The way that this thought process started was like, what if I was just playing an instrument or working on my watercolor or literally anything? What if I was growing as a person in my hobbies? If I'm not able to, if I'm like, I'm scrolling and I don't want to be doing that, but if I'm also not able to work because I can't get the fucking cats in my brain to do what I'm trying to get them to do, then okay, I should just do literally anything else. That's fine. I have these books right now on my desk. Like, here, I gotta shift some things around. Oh, my glasses. I would like to be wearing those. Cool. So that I can read the chat without difficulty. Okay. I grabbed my husband's book of knots. Not knotting, you gross people. But yeah, and I found myself the other night, I was like, I'm reading about ropes. and like different types of rope, because that's like the beginning of this book is like, here's some things you should know about rope construction. This can help you decide what kind of knot is appropriate for your situation. And then this book like has these little symbols that indicate what the knots are for. So like, oh, there's a little captain's wheel for a ship. Okay, that means that this is a boating knot. So like literally fucking anything that's not scrolling. It doesn't have to be work in the traditional sense. So that was the original thought that I had, where I was like, maybe I should give myself some slack. Maybe I should just kind of fucking do literally anything else in that time. What has practically occurred is I'm getting a lot of other things done that I do want done. And you can call it procrastinating my work if you want to, which maybe it is. Maybe I'm procrastinating the Mulan video by... I mopped my floor in the kitchen the other day. The cat box, like, dust gets tracked in there. And so there's, like, all these little... There's all these little dust particulates that end up streaked across the floor, you know? And I was like, this sucks and I don't like it. So I just fucking mopped the floor. I did have to buy a new mop in order to do that. But I bought a new mop and I just fucking cleaned it. And now it's clean, dude. And every time I'm in the kitchen, I'm like, damn, this is so good. And it's just little stuff like that. And like the other part of that is letting go of the idea that I have to do it all at once, you know? My mom would be like, we're gonna clean the entire kitchen today from top to bottom. The only thing that mentality has accomplished in my life is making me not clean the entire kitchen. Rather than now, it's like, okay, well, guess what? The floor is clean. It may not be, like, the whole kitchen, but it is at least part of it. And, like, guess what? While I was working on the floor, I also noticed like, the front of the cabinets needed to be wiped down, and the front of the stove. So I just was like, okay, I'll go ahead and do that, and just wipe those down. You can do that sitting on the floor. Bada bing, bada boom. Kitchen is cleaner. I feel nicer. Easy peasy. What about setting like a workday schedule so you have a boundary around when you work on the thing? See, that doesn't work for me because I have such a hard time switching tasks, and like I'm so inconsistent in the morning that it's like, when does my workday start? And like also I cook dinner 5 nights a week. So like that's part of my workday. There's just not like a good way to do that because I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to start and stop at the same times. I don't know, it's just stupid mentality shit. I have to... You're wrangling cats. When you're ADHD, you're like, okay, I need to... Here's the thing. You actually have to like observe what you do and then work with that. And like I actually got advice similar to that when I asked my friend who's a writer. I was like, what is a good word count for a day? Because I had just busted out, I added like 635 words to my Mulan script on Friday, and I was like, is that like a good word count? If I stopped there, would that be like a good amount of progress for one day? And one of the things that my friend said was like, yeah, sometimes what I have done in the past is like, I'll just do my best for a few days or like a week, like observe how much time I've been or like how much I've gotten accomplished for about a week, and then base my expectations for my words per day off of that. So yeah, obviously it's different too if you're writing a novel that's supposed to be like 70,000 words and I'm writing an essay that's like, I guess it's just going to be as long as it's going to be. That's the thing too, is they were like, how long is the thing you're trying to write? And I was like, I don't know, because it's as long as it needs to be. I have no idea how long it's going to take for me to finish saying what I mean to say. But maybe I'll write a few essays and then I'll get an idea of like, okay, it takes me approximately this long to make my point. And then I'll have a better idea, or like, oh, here's 4 scripts. They were approximately this many words. And therefore then I can build an expectation. But I don't necessarily want to move into fully scripted content permanently, anything like that. This video is just working out to need more fleshing out than just an outline. Hello, Ninja Proxy. Excellent name. It's not like there's a minimum word count like with school. Yeah, yeah. Um, like I timed it, and right now the amount that I have in my Mulan script, if I were to just read it exactly as it's written with no like pauses or anything, it would be about 7.5 minutes. But I have a broader point to make, so I don't know how long the thing is going to be total, but we'll see. But yeah, basically, trying not to put yourself, in a shame cycle or putting guilt on yourself. Like, just fucking work on things when you can. And also part of giving myself permission to do literally anything else and not, like, give myself a hard time about what that thing is. I finished putting all of the vines around my room. I know that you can't really see a lot of it here. They're all around the room. Like, they're everywhere as part of the sound reduction, like the echo reduction in my room. So I guess the most of them would be over here that you could see. So that's kind of like behind the chat and therefore hard to see, but whatever. And then these little ones draping down, and then we got some longer ones over here. But they're all around the room. And now I'm like, man, that task is done. The vines have just been like in a tangled pile on top of a surface that I want to use since we moved. And it's been 6 months since we've been here. Hey, congratulations us. It's been 6 months since we've been here. So that's cool. It's like 6 months since we've gotten to Oregon and like gotten the keys to our place and everything. So 6 months of that just being a thing that I needed to do. And now it's done. And it's so much better in here. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell a difference at all, but like it is less echoey in here than it was. And it feels cozier and it's so pretty. I'm like, wow, look at all that. Isn't that so pretty? And it's nice. So yeah, giving yourself permission to do anything other than scroll. And not forcing yourself into a productivity shame spiral. Oh no. I went to go drink my tea and then hair was in my mouth. Okay, what? Did you share a video? Someone put a video in Discord that they're making me pay attention to. It's a green tea today, babes, with jasmine and lily flower. Oh god, what am I doing? Okay, where did you post this? Where is the link? If you want, you gotta use the right channels if you want me to be able to see stuff. What is with chat today? I don't know. We got some silly billies in the chat today. I've been ignoring the chat, and I talked for like 5 to 10 consecutive minutes without reading chat at all, so maybe they're just going a little crazy because I wasn't paying enough attention to them. So sad that my rope joke fell absolutely flat. Oh yeah, Mosh said, give yourself some slack. See what you did there? Haha. Like, because I was reading about ropes, and I was like, give myself some slack. I also got out my calligraphy workbook recently. I was like, oh yeah, I do have a calligraphy pen that was, I think that like my, okay, this is my convoluted family bullshit. My great aunt was dating some guy whose mom died. So my great aunt let me basically, or maybe she didn't die, maybe she just moved into a home or something, but my aunt, great aunt, let me like pilfer stuff from her house. Like I have some nice calligraphy brushes, like because she knew that I was into Japanese culture, and this lady apparently had some Japanese stuff. So yeah, I ended up with a bunch of stuff, including like a calligraphy pen. And I was like, bet, it's got a bunch of different little nibs on it. So I got a calligraphy book. It doesn't have any like super great typefaces in there. You know, they wouldn't be necessarily like my choice of ones to learn, but it's still good to have the fundamental skills and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I have a bunch of stuff like that that has just ended up in my possession. A moment of silence for my rope joke. Yeah, yeah. At least there's not trolls today. That's true. So what I'm learning is that the more overtly sexy femme I go, the more clicks we get, I think. We have 35 people in here right now, or there was 35. Now it's 33 again. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Love you, babes. Thanks. It's like, okay, today we're wearing a tank top that is showing my sports bra underneath, but I am wearing a sports bra with no support, so the boobs are not really perking. So I think that I get fewer clicks when I'm less, like, dolled up, which is interesting. So we get more trolls the more views we have, the more, like, random people are coming in here. Most of my rope jokes don't go over well. Lamau. Making too many suicide jokes. I didn't do an adequate warm-up today, so my voice is already like... Ah! You can go sexy mask, but it might be difficult wearing a leather harness on stream. Yeah. Probably. I have a feminine style harness that I could wear. I think it's one of those that comes up and like goes around your neck. Most of it you would not be able to see. Most of it would be under a shirt. I guess that's part of what makes it difficult, right? Is if you want to show off the whole harness, you'd have to do it shirtless. That would be difficult for me. Someone who breasts boobily up the stairs. Hail hydrate. OMG. Do you do mask makeup ever? That's a great question. So I know makeup is a thing that you can use to create an illusion, right? Like, obviously, the way that we typically think of this is like women making their nose look thinner, or like making their cheekbones more pronounced by putting shadows underneath and putting highlights on top, or like putting a white color or like a lighter color in the middle of the face to kind of bring out the eyes and shit. I get it. And then there's also stuff that you can do for masculinization. Like you can, if you really fill in the eyebrows here and you put a highlight on top of the brow and then like a low light underneath the brow to make the brow look bigger, you know, you can change the shape of the nose as well. You can highlight the shape of the jawline, change the shape of the jawline by marking it up. I don't wear makeup at all, which may surprise some people. I was just never really good at it. I have some makeup products, but I think most recently I was like, I think I'm just going to focus on doing eye makeup, and even then, only ever under eye makeup, because here's the thing. Like, first of all, I do not like putting foundation on. I don't know, maybe if it was like a mostly for the sunscreen foundation, I could start wearing a foundation. But I don't know. It's just not my thing. It's like a sensory thing. I don't like having makeup on my face. But here's the thing about my eyes, is that my eyes are super hooded. So, like, a lot of the makeup just disappears when my eyes are open. And also, a problem that I have is that my eyes are super level this way, but in a way that, like, the way that my top lash is shaped, it makes my eyes look downturned. Like, do you remember having a me back in the day? And you could, like, change the angle of the eyes, where there is, like, okay, they could be way up here, crazy, or they could be, like, even, or they could be slightly downturned. My eyes look slightly downturned. So it's really difficult with the combination of my hooded eyes and the downturn. Like, I can't really do a cat's eye look. Like, it just doesn't work. I've tried it. It doesn't work. So my thing mostly, if I ever wear makeup, is I focus on the underneath of my eye and like maybe something up at the very top here. Like I could blush out an entire color up top. I just don't really like how it looks most of the time. But it's because I'm an amateur. I probably would enjoy it more if I was not like 20 years behind. My mom didn't really do makeup. So I did not really grow up around a person who did makeup. My one aunt that I liked to hang out with, she was also kind of tomboyish. So I just didn't learn. Yeah. Do you prefer a masculine or femme style for yourself? I have mostly found that overt masculinity doesn't look too good on me. That's my opinion. I think femme styling is much easier. That might be part of it. It's like super easy to be like, oh, look at this. It's a shirt. It has like a little boob window. Like one of my goth shirts I wore recently is like, it has a little boob window. Cute, easy. And it's like goth. So goth is permissive of being a little bit like androgynous, first of all, but also mismatched style is easy to kind of go with. But I was saying earlier, Christine, I don't know if you were here, is like because of my life goals and my health and different considerations I'm making, it's very possible that my style for the most part outside of my house is going to become like a park ranger kind of style. But I do want to accumulate more cute feminine clothes that I can wear on stream because my wardrobe is actually pretty limited. So kind of both of those things, I guess, where it's like feminine style in the home for streaming. If I'm not working, I'm just wearing a tank top and basketball shorts. Like I don't dress up at home. If I'm leaving my house, park ranger chic is kind of the trajectory that I'm on. So I don't know. Does park ranger count as masculine or feminine? I guess I will find out. Mosh, congrats on going back on T. That's exciting. Marilyn Monroe did an eye pencil that looks cute on downturned eyes. Okay. I'm gonna look that up. Marilyn. Oh my god, I can't type. Marilyn Monroe. Eye makeup. I just want to see her actual face. Okay, I kind of see what you mean. Yeah, she had like this kind of wing situation. So this is what I mean. Like, this looks good on her. Why? Because her eyes are almost shut. She's sitting here like, which is great, and I love that for her. And it is how to make that look good. Because when your eyes are all the way open, it just kind of looks like you have a weird little like it doesn't, I don't know. It's tough. But anyway, she's a beautiful woman. God bless Marilyn Monroe. She was great. Autism says makeup is like the suit from I Think You Should Leave. I Think You Should Leave. Okay, I haven't seen this. I recognize this guy though. He's the one he's in the hot dog costume and it's like really obvious that he's the one who did it, but he's like pointing at someone else. I don't know the context of that at all. Oh, Moshe is trying to navigate getting a HRT in fucking Britain right now. Been in the pipeline for so long. The UK wait times are insane, and now they're trying to send me to a different city. Fingers crossed for Friday appointment to stay in the city close to me. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry they're yanking you around. Yeah, I really do think, like, if they can completely stop providing gender-affirming care to trans people, they will. Like, I think that if they can get away with just completely dropping all of the care, then they will do that. Like, yes, of course they're giving you the runaround, and they're like giving you a new reason why you can't proceed. That's never been a problem before, but like suddenly there's some extra test you needed to do that you didn't get done or something. Like, ugh. Man, I only uploaded one video this month. I don't think Mulan video is going to be out by this time next week. Maybe. I don't know. Shit. I wasn't really planning on busting it out, but I could. Unfortunately, you're right. It's going to happen that the UK will kick off all trans people from the NHS. I don't want to politics bomb you on the Wednesday chat, but we did just get our first overtly fascist bill. What was it? We're not like a never politics anymore, but we're not gonna like get into it in depth if all I can say is like, damn, that's crazy. Like, I'm not gonna generate 15 minutes of commentary if ultimately I can just be like, damn, that sucks. What happened? I've been offline. I haven't seen. Itchy. Yeah, but I hope things turn out well with your appointment and that they don't fuck you over right now for no reason. That would be cool. Eddie Burback did a video called I Hate My Phone, so I got rid of it. Oh, I think I didn't watch this one. Okay, it's a 46-minute video that we are not going to watch right this moment. But yeah, Mosh, I don't know if it'll let you link an article, but tell me what was the headline and I'll Google it. If I just type in like UK fascist law, I don't think it's going to know what I want. Because I don't think it lets you post links. I don't know why, you guys. YouTube, I've told it, like, allow people to post links in the chat. And it just doesn't... I think my YouTube might be a little bit fucking janked out. Because also, like, I set up the Streamlabs bot to occasionally tell things to the YouTube chat. And it just never works. Maybe when I first set it to work, it'll start functional. But then it immediately breaks. And I do not know what the problem is. So, yeah. Just little shit like that I'm dealing with. Dude, tea is so good. Like, green tea... Am I weird for putting heavy cream? I've already asked you this question, I think. But, is it... I put a little bit of heavy cream in just because I had heavy cream in my fridge and I was trying to get rid of it, but now I'm used to it. I still have the same heavy cream in my fridge that I'm trying to get rid of, so... But it's nearing its end, and I'm like, am I gonna switch to milk, or... I don't know. He's like, you only need a little splash of heavy cream, and then it gives it a nice little texture. I don't know. Will you watch Stranger Things when Season 5 comes out? Nope. Not a Stranger Things person. Just never got into it. Should I? Do I need to? Is it, like... There's also so much bad shit happening in the United States at any given moment that even though I do follow a good number of Europeans on the internet, I still end up, like, mostly seeing a bunch of shit about what's going on in America. Okay, new police powers. UK. Crime and policing bill. New powers for police to tackle neighborhood crime. This is... I'm seeing stuff from earlier this year. Okay, here's one from July 1st. It is your choice, but I don't regret watching it so far. Okay, fair. Sure. I don't think we have Netflix right now. I think my partner let it expire, and we don't have Netflix right now. Which I don't usually feel very bad about. I just can't get enough of that tea. Okay, are we saying Stranger Things is delightful for what it's worth? Yeah, I know it's like supernatural and a little bit horror, and it's based in the 80s, and it's got Dungeons and Dragons, and it's got teenagers in it, and it's got Winona Ryder, and yeah, like I know some things about it. Some impossible to avoid things. Okay, apparently these new foreign powers, these new police powers, Mosh says this makes terrorism charges stretch beyond ideology, and combined with crackdowns and openly charging peaceful protesters with unlawful gathering, it leaves organizers open to be charged with, I'm assuming you're about to say with terrorism. What about Squid Game? Nope, I haven't seen Squid Game either. I'm always like one of those annoying people who's like, I don't want to watch the new thing that's popular. And then, like with Game of Thrones, I was like, I don't want to watch this. And then I think it was in the middle of like season 4 that I was like, sure, I'll finally watch the first episode of this. And I was like, wow, I have to watch more of it. And then we watched all of it. And I was like, bet, I'm going to keep watching this as it comes out. Every time it comes out, I'm going to watch it. And then I did. And I became a huge mega fan. And now I'm watching House of the Dragon, etc., blah, 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 whatever. But I don't know that I've entirely gotten over this like resistance to watching the new thing when it comes out. I don't know. I watched Last of Us season 2, but I took 2 years to watch The Last of Us season 1. And I was like, damn, that was really good. Why did no one tell me how great that was? And it's like, haha, the entire internet said how great it was. You should have just done it 2 years ago. But I didn't. Okay, yeah, so the issue with these, like the crime and policing bill in the UK, it expands the conditions under which people can be deported. That's something that at least one article is concerned about. Okay, let's see what they say on Blue Sky. Okay, something has just passed with an online safety bill in the UK where across the entire country, residents have to use their legal ID, a biometric scan, or something like that in order to access Grindr and Tinder and other dating sites. So that's kind of a lot. Like, you're really putting a lot of onus on those companies to... Like, it should just be on the device level. I was watching some video recently about, like, okay, cool. It might have actually been something that was on the Pornhub website as well. Because they made it to where you can't access porn in Kansas without your ID. It should just be on your device. Like, you should be able to authenticate your device somehow. Like, sure, if I have to show my driver's license to the person at fucking Sprint, who cares? Like, all right, cool. And then it's just on my device, and if I try to access a website or a dating service or whatever, if you want to put it behind some kind of wall like this, go like, I authenticate the information that's already on my device. Cool, bing, bang, boom. And then you don't have like however many different companies, like, okay, Tinder. And then, oh, they did it to the porn websites too. So anytime I want to get on Pornhub or YouPorn or like literally any other one, like, okay, does that mean that every single one of these services is going to have my legal address and my legal documentation attached to it? And like, what do I do if Pornhub gets hacked and then my driver's license information is just out there, right? So I think that there's a huge liability when shit like that gets passed. And yeah, the Kids Online Safety Act is the same bullshit. Oregon's governor just made a deal with NVIDIA to make AI schooling programs in K through 12 classes, but mainly focusing on college. We are cooked. What? Are you serious? I follow her on Instagram, and there hasn't been anything on her Instagram about this. Excuse me. Okay, so Oregon has signed an agreement with the computer chip company NVIDIA, according to the Oregon Capital Chronicle, to educate K through 12 and college students about artificial intelligence. Details about how AI concepts and AI literacy will be taught to children as young as 5 remain unclear. Money will be spent on expanding access to AI education and career opportunities in colleges and schools in partnership with NVIDIA. The use of AI tools should be transparent in schools. Data and security and privacy should be a priority, and teachers should be trained in the use of the tools. So, it's kind of unclear to me what is actually going to be taught here. Is like, okay, are we teaching the kids how to use the tools? Because I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Because in our current system, like when you're sharing all these articles about like, oh, AI induced psychosis, like first of all, I just saw someone make an excellent point, which is that psychosis is probably underdiagnosed and that it's just becoming more apparent how much of an actual problem it is because the AI chatbots are causing people to spiral out in a way that they might not normally. But that they are still having the symptoms regardless. So that's an interesting point. But telling you like how to use AI, especially in a context of like, we're doing this as part of workforce training. Like this is what they've stated. NVIDIA is collaborating with the state of Oregon on workforce training and upskilling to address the rapidly growing demand for AI skills, foster economic growth, and ensure Oregon's workforce remains competitive in the evolving tech landscape. Like, okay, cool. I also think that, like, I saw a really great idea, which is that they had the kids... So the teacher, in order to, like, not make the use of AI taboo, I think that's part of it. If you make it taboo, the kids are going to do it for sure. So in an effort to strip it of its taboo, and in an effort to teach how reliable AI is, they told the student to give a prompt to the chatbot and say, hey, I want you to write a report on this subject. Or whatever, like a one-page report. Basically in the same way that a teacher will give an assignment to a student. Say, I want a one-page report on XYZ. Then they had the kids check the article. Like whatever chat GPT spit out, they had the kid research that topic and fact check what ChatGPT said. So I'm like, cool, okay, you're learning a lot of really important skills there, and above all, you're learning that the chatbot will just make shit up. Like, obviously, you have to use something other than the chatbot in order to corroborate what the chatbot says. So then you learn the skills of, like, researching, fact-checking. You learn, like, which outlets are reliable to get information from. You might learn how to corroborate across multiple sources, right? Like, so there's a lot of good things that can go into that. So you're using the AI in the strictest sense that, like, you must know how to use this. And it is useful to know how to use it for work purposes, right? If you have a meeting and there is, like, somebody has a recording thing, a transcribing thing, like, on their phone is transcribing the meeting. Like, or maybe you even have a little recording. Like, you could feed a recording of a meeting to a chat thing and be like, hey, I want you to identify all the different speakers and then create a transcript of this. Or maybe even I want you to organize the bullet points, like the important notes. And so, yeah, like, it can be useful in that sense where you're like, I'm going to take this thing, like, Or like maybe you take a bunch of notes in a meeting and you're like, okay, I want you to organize this into different topics. Or like, what was the key takeaway from this? And yeah, it's like useful in that sense. And it's inevitable that this is going to be foisted upon us, so you might as well know how to use it. So on that front, like I kind of understand trying to get be some training on how to use the stuff and like how to identify mistakes in the training models and like how to give it specific instructions so that it will do exactly what you want it to do. Like you can get a search out of OpenAI every time you use it if you tell it to search, right? Like if what was it? I was thinking of like how I would phrase something to it earlier. Like if I was like, oh yeah, Kitty Tick in here in our community has said before that there's like really interesting laws around abandoned land and like how to take ownership of abandoned land in the state of Oregon. And it's like, okay, what I could do is I could go to chatbot and be like, I've heard that Oregon has some really interesting laws regarding how to take ownership of abandoned land. Can you provide a summary for me and search for an article where I can read more? If you tell it to search for something, it will literally do a web search of the current internet and be like, here. So if I'm like, okay, I want you to link me to several jobs websites for the state of Oregon. It'll be like, boom, here's like 4 different websites. Click them, go to them. They actually exist. You know, how to use the thing. Important information. And another thing that teaches you is how to identify when something has come out of AI. I can see it so easy because I use OpenAI like on a semi-regular basis. So when I see something, like I saw on my Blue Sky, I was following someone who was like, I had to request that a false attributed quote be taken down. Like somebody had written an article and had included a quote from this person, and she was like, I never said that. This is not a quote that I ever said. You need to take this down. This is a misattribution. And I could tell by reading the quote, I'm like, that came out of an AI. And in fact, probably the entire article came out of an AI. There was no byline on it. But I was like, oh yeah, that was... So the more you are exposed to the output of AI, the more you can identify it out of context and go, I don't know, that doesn't sound like it was written by a human being. It's tricky how to handle it in education. It's important that people, especially kids, understand AI and its risks, but it's hard to avoid getting kids reliant on it or having them use it to think for them. Well, I think that's the point of the exercise of having ChatGPT write the report for you, is like you're teaching kids that this isn't reliable, or that like maybe it might be accurate 70%, but that last 30% is significant enough that like you need to follow up on everything it says. Over time, the computation power of some of these models will decrease, so there's no goal in making it more of a course of pollution. It's the opposite of the military, which has a goal to pollute and destroy. Those types of fears, we shouldn't do this because now it's too much. Just give people reasons to improve the technology, not reasons to stop it altogether. Yeah, I guess you're right that is the main complaint that people seem to have. So, like, obviously the AI thing is problematic because it's worsening people with psychosis, and it is feeding false information, and it is making it to where that people don't have to think for themselves, and that is making their brains shrink or whatever. Yes. But the main thing that people take issue with, or at least the thing that I see the most, is the pollution thing. And like, first of all, I don't really think there's any difference between me using OpenAI versus using Google at this point. Like every single Google search I do has an AI response at the top, and I don't think there's a way to make it stop. There was a little thing that people were typing that was like it would take away the AI response. I don't know if it still works. So, and I drive my car, and like if you eat almonds, that consumes a disproportionate amount of water, and like, you know, it is being forced into more and more things, and it's just operating in the background in a way that's like, I can't boycott all of Google's products. You know, even in Google Docs, it has like a thing that's running in the background. And like, I can't reasonably stop using... I mean, we're encountering this problem right now where, yeah, can people really get off of Meta if Meta is the way that you learn that there's a flood? Like... If the goal is to stop the water usage, that's one thing. If the goal is to stop AI altogether, there has to be more of a reason IMO, just based on how things will actually play out. Excuse me. I do think it's compelling that AI causes you to not need to think. Unless you are using it in a specific way. And like, I'm sure everyone out there is like, well, the way I use AI is ethical and also isn't going to turn my brain into soup. But like, I'm aware of the fact that it could turn my brain into soup. So I'm making sure I still do the other thing. Like, I'll still do the thing where I go to Google and I'm like, hey, whatever my search prompt is, and then read like 4 articles and then kind of come up with an answer, right? Like, I'm making a point to continue doing that and to use AI for things like, hey, can you summarize this thing? Like, I took a bunch of notes on Mulan. Can you please sort them into broad categories? As a Pixel user, it's futile trying to avoid Google. Sure. The Fuzzy Logic says, what worries me is that I've heard people say Perplexity is better because it cites as sources, but every time I've used it, at least half the citations are dead links. Probably were hallucinated in the first place. Ooh, yeah, that's... Excuse me. If Google hadn't become like Bing, as Bing of 15 years ago, we wouldn't need ChatGPT to write our PowerPoints. True. Oh man, I just learned about the existence of Google Slides, and I'm definitely gonna make my younger sibling do a Google Slides PowerPoint presentation. Haha, I'm a teacher, homeschooling a teenager. I'm confused as to how AI affects the climate, just genuinely wondering, not trying to be mean or anything. I think basically the argument is that, so the chatbot thing, like what it actually is a room full of servers, or perhaps a building full of servers. And so those have to be kept cool. And I think that there is like a lot of water goes into cooling them. And that's the problem, is that like the water is being removed from the environment and held in tubes to cool down the servers. So it's taking water out of the environment, and oftentimes the places where they build these server buildings is in places where there are already problems with drought and fire. So I think that is the problem. Yo, the DOJ just named Trump on Epstein's list. Cue MAGA implosion. Really? That seems... Let me see, what's the latest? What's the latest? From the Wall Street Journal, Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. Okay, so that's what the latest is. That apparently he has known that his name is on the list since back in May. That's just on Blue Sky. I've heard that in Memphis, Tennessee, there are air quality issues near the area due to the AI server rooms. Okay, that like they're worsening the air quality. Plus the massive power consumption. Power itself is expensive. Sure, yeah, and I'm sure they're being set up in places that are still primarily on coal power. Like, yeah. Fuzzy says, it seems pretty obvious to me that they've just been stalling for time while they scrub the most salacious stuff involving Trump from the Epstein files. That way, when it does come out, it'll look like a nothing burger. Possibly. If I recall correctly, there are some places where they basically use their own generators to run the data centers. Oh, that would mean that they're burning fuel to run those. Like, there's no middleman of the electric company. They're just straight up burning propane or gasoline, possibly. Microsoft Copilot does this kind of thing with Teams meetings automatically. You get an annotated transcript with executive summary. See, that's fucking useful. If they could stop destroying the Earth, that would be great. Ugh. Yeah. I just don't feel super strongly about it. I know that people feel really strongly about, like, oh, the AI has negative whatever. Like, I grew up hearing about all these different horrible things, and it's like, they're all bad. I am also morally culpable for driving a car. And listen, oh my god, dudes, I love having my car back. I go places all the time now. I probably was like kind of depressed for a couple months there and didn't even realize it, and it's just because I can't fucking go anywhere. You know, like, okay, the like 1 day a week that I have my car and I don't have to work was Saturday. So like, okay, on Saturday I would go get the groceries and like probably one other thing maybe, and then my partner will want to go bowling. So okay, we'll go bowling, whatever. But like I can't go anywhere after, like, rush hour is terrible in the area where I live. So I can't really go anywhere when my partner gets home from work. And then I have to cook dinner. So I'm like, they just functionally can't go anywhere in the evening. And I have my car back. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm like going to the garden. I'm like doing things in the morning because I need to get things done before it gets hot outside. And it's so nice to just be able to go do things. And I love having my car. And I did not figure out how to ride the bus. And like, that's bad for the environment. It's bad that I love driving my car so much that I'll like take the long way home, or I'll just go for a drive for the sake of going for a drive. So I have a hard time feeling like super bad about AI because I'm just like, yeah, we all do unethical things that hurt the environment. Like, it's fucking impossible not to. Eric, nice. Vision finally healed enough after 5 years to get a driver's license again. Fuck yeah, I get a driver's license. Young says that's one reason why they stopped building new nuclear plants. The regulations made it cost too much to build, especially in poor areas. So you want to build a data center? Okay, well, here are the rules. Yeah. I hadn't really thought about that. Like, yeah, were they like, yeah, nuclear is a more renewable form of energy, or like a safer form of energy, but like they're like, oh, in order to make it perfectly safe, there's huge barriers to entry as far as building them. You have to build them like in a particular way, and it's probably really expensive. And then consequently, you end up not building any nuclear plants and just continuing the reliance on coal power. Yeah, the Good Place has been telling us this for years, people. No ethical consumption under capitalism. Good night, actual goth. Good night, good night. I also just have a hard time feeling much of anything about the Epstein files and like the whole theater of what's going on right now. Like, I can understand why maybe some people are stressing out about it. I'm just like, yeah, like, oh, they're overtly lying about what happened and their story is changing in real time. Like, cool. We can know that and nothing is going to happen, right? Like, nothing is going to come of any of this, so I just don't really feel any type of way about it. Like, yeah, people in charge are pedophiles sometimes. And they're rapists, and I feel terrible about that fact, but like, I'm like, me being upset about that is not going to change it, so why should I be upset about that? It's like, oh, business as usual in my corrupt country. I'm like, okay. Eric, as a Canadian, I think, says, my power comes from over 90% nuclear from the Bruce nuclear plant, and the rest comes from hydroelectric from Ontario and Quebec. Almost no gas is used for my part of the grid anymore. See, that's fucking great. I also think that I saw something recently about how like Oregon renewable energy like had just like we've just recently reached a point where like we have more of our grid on renewable. I can't remember what it was. What about the bigotry of low expectations? What? Sometimes I forget what I just said. So sometimes you have to be a little specific about what you're replying to in the chat. Byron says, like needing a car to go anywhere. I think telling people to not use AI will not be effective long term because it hacks human psychology at scale. True. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Young also points out, in our current political environment, if you just say something like ban AI, that doesn't really work. It doesn't make sense because what are you even referring to? Specifically generative LLMs, but what about generative LPM? Yeah, totally. You guys are doing great expanding renewable. Lots of interesting stuff coming from the PNW. I'm such a nerd for power grids. That's fun. Oh, here's a from ProPublica who says liberal Oregon and Washington vowed to pioneer green energy, but almost every other state is beating them. Uh-oh. The Pacific Northwest promise of a green energy revolution has largely fizzled, and the big reason isn't a lack of effort or desire. Oh, okay. Hey, thank you, Untitled, for your 10 Canadian dollars. Hashtag Team Lux. Thank you. Oh, I am going to be on Takis tomorrow, if anybody is curious. I think it's Arden and myself. So, Dream Team, me and Arden on the show doing our thing. And then I am not going to be on next week. And that's the end of July. So that's as far as I know the schedule. I do not know what happens after that point in August. How many Thursdays do we have in August? Okay, only 4 Thursdays in August. We had 5 Thursdays in July. Only 4 Thursdays in August. I just want to know what the next couple months are going to look like. 4 Thursdays in September. 5 Thursdays in October. Okay, cool. It's like when you have an extra payday. You know what I mean? It's like when you have 5 Fridays in a month and it works out to where you're getting paid 3 times and you're like, yes. That's how it feels to have 5 Thursdays in a month because it means that I get paid more. Like if I was on Takis like 3 times this month. So yeah, I'm going to get paid and it's going to be fucking great. I love getting paid. Oh, okay. What Alone said earlier was the bigotry of low expectations, pedos and rapists being normalized is what they were referring to. Okay, yeah, I mean, sure. So yeah, I guess Oregon didn't get as far as they were hoping to with new renewable energy things. Okay, this says Northwest leaders set renewable energy goals but neglected a key element required to achieve them. What was it? What was the key element? What is this website? obp.org, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know what OBP is. It's a newspaper probably. What did they omit? I want to see. Oh my gosh. This is a transcribed interview. Okay, which means that there's not going to be an easy answer. Okay, regardless, Oregon was supposed to be getting on it with the renewable energy, but man, we are guilty of bureaucratic bullshit getting in the way just like anything else, like they were trying to pass some big transportation bill like to keep the ODOT funded, the Oregon Department of Transportation, and it just didn't go. And so the governor has called a special session that's going to start in August to like get the lawmakers to figure it out, like because otherwise we're going to have layoffs of ODOT employees and we need them. So consequently, Portland had to increase pricing on public parking. So in any place where you park and you pay for parking, the price has gone up by like between 40 to 60 cents depending on what part of town you're in. So yeah, it's interesting that like they're having to balance this out. So like if we're not getting appropriate funding because the legislature was supposed to pass a funding package, then the city of Portland has to respond by increasing prices on parking, which sucks because it is going to be an inconvenience. It's going to price some people out. It's a tax on the poor, functionally, like because you have your own car, you have to park it somewhere, you don't have a driver, and proportionally, of course, a rich person can pay $3 for parking and they don't care, but a poor person paying $3 for parking, it's going to hit them harder, right? So it's all those things. But at the same time, it does make sense. The city of Portland has to figure its own shit out if Salem is not going to get their shit together, so... Yeah, I agree. Young says technology, it needs regulation. Like, these can be good in some ways and harmful in other ways, and you can't outright say ban stuff. You need to regulate it and observe harms, like really closely observe the harms that are being done to the communities, especially if pollution is involved. Yeah, I agree, totally. Ancom Jane says, honestly, I expect politicians to be corrupt as the state and capital corrupt people. Fair, yeah. And like, I just moved here. I don't know anything about Tina Kotek. Like, I don't know anything about our governor except that like she has short hair and people call her a man a lot. Like, is she a lesbian? I don't actually know. She did march in the Pride Parade. Is she a lesbian? I don't know. And you can be a cis lesbian and still be like passing laws that don't make sense. Like, I still don't really know how I feel about the executive order that she just signed that makes it to where you're not allowed to have your phone in schools, like any public schools. Like, how big of a deal are school shootings in Oregon? Because that's like the major complaint that I have is like kids should have access to their phones during the school day in case of a school shooting. But like, does it dampen it? Does it like injure their ability to learn? Like, maybe, probably. So maybe if it's like, yeah, keep it in your backpack. Like, you can have it in your backpack, but don't ever get it out in the middle of class unless we're doing a safety drill. Like, unless there's a drill for a shooter, or like if we think there might be an actual active shooter situation. But you know, I'm just still a little mixed on how I feel about that. But she seems cool. Like, I mean, she seems fine. That sounds like a game. Is that a lesbian? Let's find out. True. The reality is that the United States isn't great at using safe power plants or regulating them historically. My hometown has also irradiated areas from early nuclear testing, and I would rather that than what the coal plant did at the end of the day. Oh, okay, sure. American problem. It's a lot of American problems, okay? We're full of problems here in America, right? Like, lots of very uniquely American problems. Lots of problems that are worse just because you're here. Like, yeah. Man, my hair looks super cute when it's on this side of my head. Fuzzy points out that nuclear is the safest option and the least harmful form of electricity generation. Coal and gas-fired plants actually cause more cancer and put more radioactive isotopes into the environment than nuclear. I wonder how that compares to like solar. I guess the problem with solar is that the cells themselves can break down over time, and so you need to replace them. And I don't think it's very efficient to get those cells. And then plus, any solar system... Any solar installation is going to require a battery bank system, and the batteries themselves are also, even though, and it's not a one-time thing, you have to replace them after a certain period of time, and it's not very sustainable to make those either. Cell phone instead of guns. Listen, guns are banned on school campuses. Like, even in states where you have a concealed carry license and concealed carry protection, you're not allowed to carry a firearm on the premises of a school. People do it anyway, but it's not like there isn't already a law against it. So there being a new law against cell phones in the schools, you know, not exactly comparable. Solar is not there quite yet, and sadly has been a lot of fuckery with startups and funding messing with its advancements. Also takes a lot of space that need clearing for solar farms. No, it fucking doesn't! I'm not mad at you, Eric. I'm not mad at you. This is just the problem that I have with, like, the way that our society works. Like, guess what? Mandate. Make it a requirement that every giant fucking empty parking lot must have a roof of solar panels. Every building with a footprint, every commercial building, especially with a footprint bigger than like 1,000 square feet, is required to cover their roof with solar panels. You don't need to fucking clear any space. You don't need to put them in a field anywhere. We have buildings, we have parking lots all over the place. Sorry. I'm so annoyed on this subject. Because, like, it was a big fucking conversation back where I lived before, where they were like, yeah, they're going to try to put in a solar farm. And it's like, okay, why don't you just make it a requirement that, or like give them a severe tax penalty? Any business operating in the city or operating in the state, wherever the fuck you make the rule, is like any building above a certain square footage or any parking lot above a certain square footage, like, must be re-outfitted with solar panels. Like, every house with solar panels? Yeah. I just think that, like, I mean, and there are incentive programs. Like, there are incentive programs even in Oregon that are like, hey, we will help pay for you to get solar installed on your house. Like, we have programs depending on what county you live in and stuff. Like, yeah, check it out. We're going to incentivize you. And there are tax breaks. I think that there were some federal tax breaks. Probably they're going to go away now, but I think that there is a tax break. Like, if you're home, you obviously get the tax break for owning your home, whatever, but an additional tax break for having solar installed. So, yeah, I mean, it's really easy to incentivize these things. Fuzzy also says a new study has found that bifacial panels installed in a vertical orientation, such as a fence, actually generates more than the conventional flat installation. Is it because it can be hit like at any time of day or something? Like something because they're on both sides, so they catch like the morning and the afternoon light? Interesting. You could have a farm where you alternate rows of crops with rows of vertical panels and do both types of farming at the same time. That would generate a shit ton of heat and would maybe not be good for the plants, actually. But I love your spirit. Like, the panels are hot. I've been near them, around them, underneath them. They do provide shade underneath, but if you had a bunch of them sideways, I think it would just be hotter than fuck. And that there would also be various times of the day there would be reflection down into the plants, and I think it would just suck balls. But, I mean, somebody's got to try it at some point. No cell phones in schools is a good thing. Hot take, maybe. Yeah, maybe it's my particular American perspective of, like, I want kids to be able to say goodbye if there's a school shooting. You know, like, that's a fucked up position to have to take when, like, 99% of the time it's better for the kids to not have phones in schools. Young says that these nudging programs don't necessarily work, getting people to change behavior en masse. They need to force firms to do it. Sure, yeah. So, like, my first instinct is require businesses to put solar panels on their roof and on their parking lots. Like, make it a requirement somehow. Give them a dramatic and steep penalty on their taxes for not having solar installed. Problem fucking solved, you know? The only problem that you then have is, like, that companies that if you're talking about like a Walmart is not above closing a bunch of their stores to avoid. They're like, I would rather not even have a business open here than have to spend more money on making it functional. You know, we've seen it with Kroger. Kroger shut down a bunch of stores during there were like strikes and like union stuff happening, and they were just like, yeah, we'll just close this store. I don't give a fuck. Like, they don't care. Fuzzy actually says the vertical orientation cools them. Convection occurs and you will end up with an updraft. Oh, maybe. Oh, okay, I kind of see what you mean there. Okay, maybe. I would still be worried. And I would also worry that's like, okay, maybe, yeah, it would shade. It's going to shade the plants during everything except for the hottest part of the day. So it's like, do you have plants that only want direct sun at the peak of the hottest part of the day? Maybe that could work for something. I don't know. I shouldn't poo-poo it entirely, Fuzzy. You're right. Young goes, yes, requirements, tax them, force them to stay open. Authoritarian leftist. That's funny. Listen, if corporations are gonna exist, then I'm gonna be fucking fascistly authoritarian towards them specifically. Give me power, this is what's gonna happen. Like, maybe Walmart has like 4 Walmarts in your town. Like, maybe your town's big enough to have more than one Walmart, and they close all but one of those Walmarts, but that entire Walmart is covered in solar panels. Yes, bitch, guess what? I think that's still a net good. And then here's another thing that I've been having an issue with. Do you ever, and maybe this is just because I moved to a part of the country that's like really old. It feels like that like a lot of the stuff here is just really old. But I'll drive past like an empty big box store. it used to be, I don't know, like a fucking Petco, or it used to be a Dick's Sporting Goods, or it used to be like an Office Depot or something, right? Like in a location where you're like, yeah, as I drive around this area, I can see why nobody ever went there. Or like, oh, there's a different store that has the same type of stuff and it's in a much more accessible location. Like, yeah, of course. And there was this one building back home before I moved where it like that one building had been like so many different restaurants because it was just in an awkward place where it's like not easy to turn into there. Like there's only one direction that it's easy to turn into there, and even then you have to like wind your way through a parking lot to get to that restaurant building. So it's like, yeah, I understand. But if you're in a situation where there's like an empty big box store and nobody wants to move into there because it's obviously not a great location, I also think that you should be required to sell the building back to the city after a certain period of time, and that we should make those buildings into like homeless shelters and other public works. Like, I think any abandoned commercially owned piece of land, and I understand that part of the problem here is like zoning, like maybe like, oh, this is only zoned for commercial, but guess what? You're the city. You're in charge. Why don't you just say like, yeah, okay, so this is a commercial only area, but we have this giant empty building. We're going to force the owners to sell it back to us for like 20% of what it's worth because we're the fucking government and we can do that. Then be like, okay, we're going to buy back this empty fucking building from you and we're going to turn it into an apartment building or a kitchen, like a soup kitchen or something. Like, we're going to do something with it, because how many fucking empty buildings do you drive by on a regular basis? Maybe, again, this is just me. I lived in a place before that was like actively being developed, which you could say it was like actively being gentrified or whatever. Like, sure, that's fair. Like, I lived in one of the more expensive places to live in Kansas. And so it was being actively developed, and like there were parts of Kansas City that like have empty house after empty house after empty house. I know, because I was a mail carrier. Like I was a mailman. I delivered mail, and I used to have to walk past rows of empty houses in Kansas City, Kansas. Okay. But there are some places that are more affluent and are actively being developed. And now I live in a place where there's just like less active development. And so I'm walking past all these fucking empty buildings all the time. And I really do think that you should be required to sell it back and let me do something useful with it, as like I'm imagining that I'm the city control person. You can do these things that bring firms to make those types of net negative adjustments and get them to do more. Like if there are 4 Walmarts, maybe they close 1. We can calculate how many jobs would be lost beforehand, and the government can make adjustments. At the end of the day, government does control all. They can do more than what is currently being done to force firms to be more environmental. Currently, they're doing nothing. Yeah, cutting their taxes would be a fucking start. It would be a start. Shakespeare, hello, says, side note, my legal mandate, all tent bags must be 10% larger than they currently are. Tent bags must be more forgivable for a better future. Yeah, trying to pack a tent back into itself, like trying to pack a tent back into the bag after you've opened it even once, is basically impossible. I'm not going to say it's entirely impossible, but it's kind of impossible. Yeah, it would definitely be nice to see more solar panels in urban situations. Let's just try more stuff. Let's just try more stuff. Currently, the only thing they're doing is cutting taxes for firms despite how much they pollute, creating more billionaires. There's other options. Yeah, like, cutting taxes for firms. Just like lowering their public responsibilities. I think every city should simply be under a dictatorial rule by a leftist. Just give me a town with like 3,000 people and let me see what I can whip up, This is the beginning of my hunger for power, by the way. You're witnessing the beginning of my hunger for power. Just give me one town with like 2,000 people, and I'll manage the shit out of it. And then that'll be a little test drive, and then you can give me a city with like 20,000 people in it, and let me work my way up. I'm so jealous of European city transport infrastructure. I think about those trams all the time. Yeah, expanding public transport would be one amazing thing. Yeah. Yeah, the Lux villain pipeline. I'm here for it. I'm glad. I'll listen to you if you're holding a whip. I don't actually have very much BDSM gear. So you may find that surprising. I don't have a whip or a flogger. Do I need to get one just for this purpose? What I have right now is a fan that I can whap you on the nose. Like a puppy. Just whap, 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 whap. Bad dog. Whap, 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 whap. That's somebody's kink. Sorry, but as an anarchist, I have to disagree. Well, okay, but listen. Anarchy is opposed to unjustified hierarchy, okay? Which I think means that we can try out different hierarchical structures to see if they work and if they justify themselves. So by that, it's like, listen, if you give me in charge, what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to what a lot of different people have to say, and I'm going to delegate tasks out to other people, okay? I think I can very easily justify my position in the hierarchy by consistently, like, democratizing how decisions are made while I get final say, as long as everybody agrees that I get final say, to be fair. But yeah, and like, listen, if the people decide to take the power away, if I start doing a bad job, I'll have to relinquish that power, right? I'm not saying that I'm going to be like a permanent dictator, but I just think let me try it out. I just think let me try with like a small town, and we'll see how it goes. Okay? Anyway, Lux villain arc, let's go! I think all are unjust. I mean, I guess I respect the ideological consistency. I mean, I don't think that... I think you're not an anarchist, then. If you believe that all hierarchy is unjust, then I don't think you're an anarchist, because anarchists do believe in some types of justified or beneficial hierarchy. As a communist, I support Lux as dictator. True. Listen, if what we want is to have a panel, then I'm cool with having a panel. A panel who can even override my decisions sometimes. So maybe what I want is not to be a dictator per se. I'm saying I'm flexible. I do want to make a lot of final decisions, but I'm not inflexible. Dark woke. True! Yes, the dark woke. I've been saying for years, like, don't ever actually give me superpowers, because I would be chaotic good, So I've been saying for years, don't give me superpowers, but like, this is the beginning of my lust for power. Luxander Lenin. True. As a dictator, I support Lux as communist. Fair. All hierarchical power structures, I mean, I guess it depends on how you define power structure. I think that any hierarchical arrangement should have to continuously prove that it needs to exist, or that it is helpful to exist, and be subject to change at any given time. So, like, power structure, is it really a power structure if the person can be voted out? Is it a power structure if people rotate the responsibility? I don't know. Gay Fesh! Hello. Chinchilla says, fine then, let me acquire capital, pay off the council, and influence your decisions to benefit myself. Oh, wait. See, that's why I get the final say. The benevolent dictator. I'll be like Linus from Linus Tech Tips. Water is so good for you, babes. Man. There was a high concentration of lemon in the bottom of that cup. Oh, it's Jamie Jam. Jamie Jam! Hello! I love it when the patrons reveal themselves. That's so wonderful. I just posted something on Patreon, too. Oh, and I'm gonna... Ooh, here's a little tease. You guys may remember that I was making a big mandala. I crocheted a mandala. And you did see one at one point that was... it was, like, jewel tones of, like, purple and green and blue. That one I gave to my mother-in-law. That was a gift for her. I don't know if she's ever hung it in her house. I kind of want to pester her and be like, Mom, did you put it up? Did you hang it up somewhere? But I had one that I was working on for myself because I wanted one to be like the sun, and I had some wonderful yarn that I was able to use. It was perfect for this project. I didn't understand what I was signing myself up for when I got started. At this time, the entire thing is... It's about this big, and then it's a full circle. So it's big, and it's large, and I have it actually finally up. It's suspended in a hoop that I made. I made a hoop out of plumbing tubing. So it's actually really, really flexible, which sucks a little bit. But I spray painted it black, and then I attached the mandala to it. So now it is suspended in the mandala dream catcher kind of situation, and it's on the wall. And I'm going to take a picture of it this evening and post it on Patreon. It's a little secret thing. But I started working on that, I think, in like March last year, and I was working on it on and off for a few months. And then I finally finished it during the summer at some point, or maybe even in the fall. Like, I finally finished it. And then it was basically just a pile of finished beautiful mandala, but in a pile of yarn. And then now I finally like stretched it out and got it all open. So look forward to that on Patreon later. I just want healthcare and to not have to leave my country to find a job in science. True. Oh man, did you guys see that Josh Johnson is Autine, what's up? Did you guys see that Josh Johnson is hosting at least part of The Daily Show for a few days this week? I think he's awesome. And I watched his one from last night, and it was so good. But one of the jokes that he made was, you know, he was joking about how, like, Trump should, like, now would be the perfect time for him to be like, hey, do you want universal health care? Like, Josh Johnson was making the joke that, like, I'll forget all about this Epstein thing if you just slide me a little universal health care under the table. You know, we could just forget this whole thing happened. And I'm like, oh, man, dude, if anything, listen, if we get universal health care out of the cover up of the Epstein files, I think I would be able to take that trade-off. Josh Johnson's first hosting job went so edgy, I was not expecting it. I love that he made himself laugh. He made himself laugh, and I was like, that was a... I don't know if it's like he wrote that joke and just forgot, or if somebody else wrote that joke. And I think that they do rehearse it, so it wasn't the first time. I think they rehearsed the show. But he like busted himself up. I thought it was cute. It was funny. Oh no, Untitled has said something cursed. In another universe, President Epstein is telling his supporters to stop talking about Trump. Cringe. Oh yeah, isn't Trump doing like a whole, we're gonna go after Obama, we're gonna try to prosecute Obama Is that happening now? Where Trump is like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna say that Trump is, or sorry, to say that Obama is the leader of the Epstein gang or something. There's this thing that he does in his stand-up to avoid laughing where he continually switches between pursing his lips and a full toothy grin. Yeah. I don't mind necessarily when a comedian laughs at their own jokes too. I feel like if anything, it's a little bit like, haha, like you're so funny that you made yourself laugh. But I love making myself laugh too. I don't find that annoying when people are like laughing at their own jokes. Remember when Dane Cook used to laugh at his own jokes? That little high pitch, like, that was funny. We swear we didn't do it. We want you to believe us so bad we'll admit we did the first one. Had me guffaw. True. Yeah, Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson is his name. I love it when comedians laugh at their own jokes. Yeah, I think it's funny. Trump is talking about this different court case regarding Brian Koberger. IDK how much people who aren't into watching trials even know about that case, but Trump has been popping off about it the last 2 days as a distraction. Oh. Yeah, I hadn't heard about that. I did know that he's trying to be like, oh, he posted a fake AI video of Obama getting arrested, right? Like, he's trying to be like, we're gonna arrest Obama. A comedian laughing at their own joke once in a while is like watching a chef enjoy their own food. Yeah, I think he was pointing out how Ghislaine Maxwell is about to get an interview with the FBI. And, yeah, what is it? He said, like, now while we wait to see if Ghislaine survives her interview with the FBI, and it was just something about his delivery of that, he just, like, busted him up a little bit. If they do it too much, it's like hearing a chef go, oh wow, this food is so good, heh. Sure. Yeah, the arresting Obama thing, he's trying to fill the information zone with like anything he can. Yeah, it's gotta be authentic. Actually busting themselves up laughing. I'm seeing an article from Rolling Stone. Trump officials are now worried that Elon has too much information on the inside stuff, and that Elon might add them to his burn book. His comedy doesn't usually go that dark, which made it funnier for me as a fan. Sure. Yeah, I love that he gets like a national audience on the Daily Show, and he's like, let's talk about them murking Ghislaine Maxwell. I feel like all this is gonna work. We aren't gonna learn more about Epstein. No, I agree with you, Young. Like, that's what I was saying earlier is like, I find it so difficult to feel any type of way about this because it's like, oh, cool. Like, we're never gonna learn more. Like, I just don't care. Like, it completely fails to evoke any kind of response from me. My problem is that I can't get the joke out if I start laughing. Man, I would love to work on my comedy skills. I was kind of thinking of going to an improv class, but I don't know if it's actually gonna happen. It's just like a weird time at a weird day of the week that I don't know if I'm ever gonna make it all the way across town for it. Maybe, I don't know. We got 58 likes and just a couple people just joined. We have like double the likes as we have people in here right now. But that's what happens, you know. Sometimes people get bored by what we're talking about because we're just meandering from one topic to the next. But if you just came in, hit the like button, even if you don't want to hang out for a long period of time. You know, just get yourself a little like button. Untitled, thank you again for another 10 Canadian. I think I didn't add your earlier donation. $16.91 is the total amount that you've donated today. Thank you very much. Let me go ahead and add that to the goal. Even though I don't get YouTube chats until like next month, and also YouTube takes like 30 to 40% of your money. So direct donations through the website are always a little bit better, but I still appreciate it and it still counts. The super chats count. Let's just call it $17. Meow. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that generous donation. Yeah, I agree, Byron. I don't think this is going anywhere, but in the short term, it is very funny to watch Trump with his contradictory denials. Yes, it's entertaining, but yeah, I don't feel any type of way. I'm not like, oh no, watch the government once again not take responsibility. I'm like, yeah, no shit they were gonna do that. Like, duh. How crazy would it be if they released the Moscow P tape as a diversion from whatever happened on Epstein Island? Yeah, I can't even say like, oh, I think that'll happen or I don't think that'll happen. Like, I'm consistently being surprised by how dumb everything is. So, yeah. Just consistently like, wow, yeah, that was crazy. Didn't see that one coming. In some ways, the funniest thing would be Trump being somehow unironically innocent. Like, you went and convinced so many people you weren't Lamau. True. Right, because, like, Epstein was one of those people who basically took it upon himself like it was his job to just know everybody. So someone just being near him once or twice is not necessarily like an indictment on them for the pedophilia thing. Sometimes he's like the connection he's the point of connection that gets you connected to some other famous person that you want to know. Like, I get it. He made it his business to ingratiate himself with everybody. So there is a possibility. There's probably a decent chunk of people who are associated with him who are completely innocent and were completely in the dark about the fucked up things happening. So it could very well be like, yeah, Trump's name was on there one time. Okay, cool. He maybe didn't fuck anybody who was a underage person. Cool, right? Great. But the way you're acting right now makes it almost completely impossible to believe that you're not guilty of the worst possible thing you could be guilty of. Okay, that's the end of my drinkable part of the tea. There's a bunch of tea leaves in there now. Yeah, but in this situation, Epstein said he and Trump were best friends for a while. And Trump said things like, yeah, he likes him a little on the younger side. Like, of course he knows about it. Virtual girl, hi. Been a while since I caught a live stream. Welcome in. Today's live stream is not performing super great, but we're just talking about dumb fucking politics shit, so maybe that's part of the reason. People are just like, wow, I'm tired of hearing about Epstein. I'm hearing about it everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, sorry. It's just hard to exist in the world right now without talking about it. Just in time to catch the end as usual. Nikki, listen, right now, we're only at the like halfway mark. Typically on Wednesdays, I start at 2 p.m. my time and I go to 6 my time, maybe 5 sometimes on a day where my throat's really sore. But you know, we're only at the 2-hour mark right now. You might be just in time for me to be about to go take my midstream break, but you know, you got at least another hour out of me. I got frustrated trying to get on your website before. Yeah, I'm sorry, it was acting up. I don't know what the deal is. I'm wishing for an Edward Snowden type. Yeah. I did just see a quote from Snowden that was basically like, if it's a crime to publicize what your government is doing, then your government is full of criminals. Something like that. Later Untitled, thank you so much for donating and for hanging out. You get the little #1 spot in the chat. Somebody will usurp you at some point, I'm sure, but thank you. Is anyone feeling any type of way about the top fans system now that it's been there for like a week? Howdy, Banana Brains. I think we discussed last time that we wish that there was some way for it to reward people for just lurking. So that's a little feedback. If anybody at YouTube ever asks me for feedback on it, Like, people want points for just watching. It's a useless feature, TBH? Sure. Sure. They're trying to encourage interaction, and I get it. Excuse me. I turned it off in my settings. It's worse than the system Twitch has. Okay, fair. They are clearly trying to copy Twitch. They are clearly trying to do something like Twitch. Banana Brains also suggests points should be able to carry over streams. Do you mean like from last stream from one creator? So like if you gained points last time? Maybe. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's midnight. Okay, right. So it's 8 hours ahead. So if I start my show at 2 p.m. my time, then it is 10 p.m. for you guys. Yeah. This is why I do my show on Sundays early in the day. I start at 11 my time so that I know, because I have a ton of European people in this community. So we do Sundays early to make sure that you guys get like an evening stream for you. It should be just like Twitch, but maybe there are some patent issues. I mean, maybe they just want it to feel fresh. Maybe they don't want it to be an absolute copy-paste of Twitch. I don't know. Maybe there is some kind of legal issue. I have no idea. What's something else that's been going on? Something like non-political. Is there something we could be talking about that isn't insane? Man, I love Kat Abugazale. She just, like, is an inspiration every time I see her on the timeline. I don't want to run for public office, but man, I do kind of want to. It's fucking annoying. It just sucks that such a huge part of your job is just soliciting donations, and, like, you can't even do your job without a huge portion of your time being just that. Oh, yeah, Ozzy. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about Ozzy. Rest in pieces. I think it's interesting that he died right after they managed to eke just enough energy out of him to do that last tour and then that last show. I guess it would have been really sad if he died before doing a giant charity concert. Kept him going just long enough. Andrew Cuomo says, I will move to Florida if Mom Donnie becomes New York mayor. That's pretty funny. Another Republican Senator, John Kennedy, has frozen mid-sentence on national TV. This is like the third or fourth politician who's just frozen on TV. It's crazy. Just stroking out in the middle of everything. That's so embarrassing. Hold on. Where's my headphones? Oh, there they are. I found them. It's midnight here. Welcome to the world of tomorrow. Indeed. I'm surprised Ozzy isn't even the first member of Black Sabbath to die. You're surprised that he wasn't the first one? Did you assume that he was in worse health? I'm kind of surprised that he ended up getting so old, you know? Okay, let's try this.
So I guess we had some more technical problems.
Hold on.
I'm sure Jesus loves them, but everybody else thinks everybody else.
So I guess we had some more.
That's crazy. Man, wouldn't it be great if our country wasn't being run by a bunch of people who licked lead paint off the walls? Ozzy was notorious for doing all the drugs. He got clean at some point, but yeah. Okay, yeah, no, I knew that, yeah. I guess I just assumed that they would have all been doing it. Naomi back? Hello. The senator from LA is a bag of potatoes. Is that even the... Who? Which one do you mean? Senator... Oh, he's senator from Louisiana. LA, not Los Angeles. Louisiana. Got it. Yeah, this was the Louisiana senator, John Kennedy, who apparently needs to go to the hospital. They didn't just lick the paint. They ate the paint from the can. They slurped it. Yummy, 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 yummy. Nikki says, I saw Black Sabbath in 72 or 73. I was still at school, about 14 or 15. Ozzy was incredible back then. That band came from the roughest place. I lived about 20 miles away. Wow, that's crazy. He needs to go to the nursing home, not the hospital. Maybe, you know, one and then the other. Maybe the hospital and then the nursing home. My home state isn't sending their best. Truly. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to take my little midstream break. When I get back, we will continue to shoot the shit for a little while. I'm just going to put on some music for you guys, and I'm going to step away. Was that confirmed to be a health thing? I know I've stopped mid-sentence like that when an inexperienced producer started talking in my earpiece. The weird little smile that he was wearing, I don't know. I don't know if this has been confirmed as anything in particular, because this is from, like, today. July 23rd? Yeah, this is just from today. So I don't know if it's been confirmed to be anything in particular. It just looks to me like yet another old guy stroking out. And, like, he just nods off. Like, look at him. He's, like, nodding off pleasantly. Like watch the video
I'm sure
again.
Jesus loves.
Like, just the series of facial expressions that he goes through. I guess maybe someone could be talking to him in his ear, like a producer who starts talking to him. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna take my little midstream break. I'm gonna get some more water and everything, and I'll leave you with some music, and then I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Usually about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but usually about 5. Ah. Only 4 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Jump scare. Boo. Gotcha. Haha. Anyway, thank you, Fuzzy Logic. Donated $10 before saying, later losers. Said gotta go. Was nice to hang out with everyone. See you all next time. Thank you. That's very kind. I know you're probably not here anymore, but thank you anyway. Bringing us up to $27. If we get to $100, I will go get my cat and bring him and show him to the stream. That's the rules. That's how it works typically. I used to do this, like, you know, the flexing thing, but I haven't been working out. At least not like that. This is part of the whole, like, trying to embrace the person that I actually am. Also, hi, Mabs. Trying to embrace the person that I actually am instead of trying to force myself to be a person that I am not. Like, yes, we all aspire to be, maybe, I don't know. I aspire to be a person who wakes up at 6 in the morning. It's not gonna fucking happen. Like, it's just not gonna, like, maybe if I were to do something like, I'm gonna restrict my activities during the day to be similar to the daylight. So if I can't read or do anything else after the sun sets, like if I can't do anything that would require more light than candlelight, like let's get back to my ancestors. I don't know, maybe. Then I'm like, okay, I'm getting tired at this time of year. It's like 10 when the sun is finally gone. Like, yeah, 10 and then wake up at 6 maybe. But in reality, I'm a person who doesn't really want to get out of bed until after 9 o'clock. So like, what if I structure my day around that and understand that I'm probably going to be awake until midnight every night? Like, whatever. What if I just be that person? Anyway. Guys, I don't know if oh, this is just really funny. For a second there were 26 concurrent viewers and 62 likes. That was just a little fun moment. Now there's only 22 concurrent viewers. How dare you two people leave? I'm gonna cry. Anyway, my answers just would want me to go to bed at 3 a.m., says Banana Brains. Maybe. My garden. I'm very excited that I get to work into it again. Like, so this year my garden is not going to be very productive. I got a community garden plot, and it's pretty big. Like, I don't know exactly how big it is. And there's also a giant rosemary bush that is taking up space on the garden plot. So it's like, it could be, I could have more productive space on it. But I chose this garden plot partially because I didn't know what to do with that much space. It's, you know, it's easily like 10 foot by 10 foot just in the usable space. So like 100 square feet. I didn't get my shit together at the right time of the year to go out there and get to it before all the weeds sprung up. Like, the weeds really took it over. The grass has been growing in there. It's been crazy. My husband had my car, so I didn't have the chance to go out there. But now that I'm working out there, I know that it's not going to be particularly productive this year, but I do know I have some waxy red potatoes, and I can see those plants, and I'm like, okay, I am pretty sure that those are potato plants. I have some stuff that looks like it's related to collard greens or broccoli or something like that. I know that there were a bunch of little tags in my plot that said tomatillos, but I don't actually know. I don't know, maybe tomatillos are just annuals, so they're not coming back. There were a bunch of tomatillo skins, though, so if there's a possibility that they could have sprouted up, but I don't know what I'm guessing tomatillos look like tomatoes, but I actually don't know if they're even related. That's a question that I need answered right now. Listen, are tomatillos even related to tomatoes? Nope. A tomatillo, they're distantly related. They are nightshades, but they are very different plants. It is more tart, more vegetal tasting than a tomato. Okay, cool. So maybe they do look different. But anyway, my garden plot it looks like shit right now. Like, it's still got a bunch of dead grass all over the place in it. Some of the plants grew up tall and then broke over. I went through and, like, cut some of it down, but it, like, still there's this one, like, wildflower that's clearly a wildflower that's super tall, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, get out of here. And I haven't been out there to water it very much. So now, yeah, if you go back far enough, any two things are distantly related. That's true. But they are both nightshades. Anyway, so my garden plot looks like shit. It's got a bunch of grass, like dead grass, dried grass all over. So what I'm trying right now, my starting point is like, I'm just going to go water it a couple times a week. Just going to make a point to get out there and water it so that what plants are in there can start to grow. Now that does mean that the weeds are going to start, like probably some of the grass is going to wake back up and start growing again. So I guess like I'm gonna have to just work on like a small chunk of it at a time, like just working on it incrementally. Ooh, 63 likes. I want to get to 69 likes really badly. Sorry if you don't like what I'm talking about. Sorry if it's boring. I am my full self here, and some parts of that are boring. I'm sorry. But I'm gardening, and so some of my goals for this year, because my garden plot is not going to be very productive, it's full of weeds, I didn't even plant any of the plants that are there, whatever, etc., etc. So what I'm going to focus on is I want to fix and reify the paths around it, because I feel like there isn't even a mulch path in between my plot and the one next to it. So I'm gonna mulch that. So right now I put down some cardboard because again, there's a bunch of fucking grass there. I've put down some cardboard for now. I'm not really sure what the next step is, if there is a step in between, like removing the cardboard and placing mulch on top of the dead grass. Like, should I go in there and like actually try to till out the dead grass before I put down the mulch, or can I just put the mulch down on top of the grass and hope for the best? I might have to Google that and find out what I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to try to maintain that. And then also my plot it's right next to a line of trees. Not right next to, but like it spends part of the day in the shade of these trees. And so consequently there's some undergrowth under the trees, and I think that's part of why my garden plot so easily got overtaken by weeds and grass this year, is because it's right next to these trees and this underbrush. So what I'm also hoping to do is not only reestablish the one path, but like go around all of the sides of the plot. Like again, it's like if you include the part with the rosemary bush, it's like 10 feet by 15 feet or something. It's huge. And I just want to go around all the sides and like put a pathway all around the sides, like create a clear and distinct area. Go through with a weed whip if I need to like cut down a lot of the really tall grass and just prevent the wildflowers and shit from encroaching on the plot. So that's gonna kind of be my goal for it for this year. So I'm planning on staying at the same community garden for next year. So basically I'm like, let me just fix the area around it, maybe very slowly work on removing some of the weeds from the plot itself. And like hope that I can make enough progress by, and then over the course of the winter, it's not entirely impossible to work a garden over the winter as well. So between now and next spring, I just want to make the area prettier. I want to more clearly define the edges. I want to be able to very clearly see all of the edges of the space that I can work with. Prevent encroachment from the wildflowers and stuff. And sure, I'll get like a handful of red waxy potatoes this fall. I'm not going to get a whole lot out of it. That's fine. I also was thinking about taking some ginger that I got from the store, which has now sprouted, and planting it in my garden plot. But then it occurred to me like, oh, the point of this is that I want it to have a lot of roots. But would that maybe kind of grow out of control? And apparently it can. Ginger can totally grow out of control. So I'm actually going to put it in a pot and just keep it in my house and see how that works. Or put it outside the front door or something, like, Wouldn't be a Lux stream without plant talk. Yeah, we're building a bingo sheet. Are we going to talk about trans politics? Are we going to talk about generic politics? Are we going to talk about plants or tea or cooking or, I don't know, pick your poison? I have 2 garden spaces. There's grass everywhere. I mow and pull selected weeds. I'm old and my knees are fucked, so I garden from a stool. Fair. Yeah, I don't yet have that problem. My knees usually feel pretty okay. You know, I'm 31 and my knees, they crackle pop sometimes, but they don't hurt. So I've got a few more years on them. I think I have a black thumb. I've tried to grow basil twice and failed twice. What were the conditions under which you tried to grow the basil? Because basil is, she wants a lot of sun and she wants a lot of water. These are things that I've learned about basil. And also, she likes to grow next to tomatoes. Are we meowing in the chat? We're meowing in the chat. Aquaponic gardening, yararg. So my partner has talked about, yeah, we've talked about doing aquaponics, especially if we ever have a little bit of land and we can put a greenhouse on it. Like vertical gardening with aquaponics would be the ideal situation. Especially if you can have like shrimp or tilapia or something in the water. Basil dies after flowering as well. Yeah, so that's another thing. Basil is an annual. So basil is supposed to die at the end of the year, I think. Hold on, let me check myself on that. Hold on. Is basil annual or perennial? Yeah, most basil varieties are annuals. So they complete their whole life cycle in one growing season. They don't survive the winter. Apparently some basil varieties can be grown as perennials in warm climates or with indoor cultivation. But if you live somewhere where there's winter, they will die in the winter. And if they flower, then they will probably die after they flower. But what you can do is you can pollinate them and then they'll go to seed and you can keep the seeds. But if you're trying to grow basil for the purposes of having a lot of basil, then you're actually supposed to trim off the flowers and not let them go to seed for maximum leaf production. But, you know, maybe you could have one of them go to seed or maybe only trim some of the flowers or something. I don't know. This is how much I don't know about gardening. It's a wonderful world. I have 2 enormous books about country living and like also you just learn through experience, you know? And you learn what you need to know. Like, oh, okay, I want to plant this plant. But oh, I remember learning that some plants are meant to die after their life cycle has completed. So let me double check this flower that I was thinking about planting in my yard. Oh, it turns out that's an annual. So if I get that one, I'll need to plant it again next year. Maybe instead I want to put a perennial flower there so that it will continue to come back every year and I don't have to do the labor and cost again of installing it. Yeah, but maybe you have a seasonal area of your yard where you're like, you want seasonal plants, and so you plant them and then remove them and plant them and remove them, and it doesn't matter if they're annuals or not. Is tilapia the best fish for our PNW climate? I think rainbow trout is supposed to be a good choice. Well, it's also different because any fish that you keep in a greenhouse aquaponics system is going to have to tolerate much higher temperatures. So they wouldn't be fish that do well in the PNW climate in the first place. You would need to do fish that are able to tolerate a higher temperature because obviously like the water is cooler under the ground. They're like in the ground, like the further, like the deeper the water is, the colder it gets toward the bottom. And I mean, in the summertime, obviously. And then there's also like that shade cools down the plants. But if you have an indoor greenhouse, the whole point is that you want it to be sunny in there all the time. So yeah, the water is going to be dramatically warmer than it would normally be. So that will dictate what species you can grow in your indoor aquaponics system inside a greenhouse. Bark? We have barks and meows in chat. How dare you? Okay, I don't need to have this basil tab open anymore. Tomatillo tab. AI stuff. New police powers UK. Bork. Oh no, you borked it up. Stop borking it up, dude. Spork, true. Sporked.com, where you get all your grocery recommendations. Not sponsored. Bro's lemon water is where it's at. What is something that everybody has been into recently? If there's a show you've been watching, is there a movie you watched recently that you were like, damn, that was good? Is there like a hobby? Have you been spending a lot of time with your cat? Did you recently get into doing the cinnamon challenge once a week? I don't know. Tell me things. I want to know what everybody's up to lately. It's like, you know what I'm up to. I'm gardening and like still trying to lose weight. Like, you know, that's another big thing. Like trying to work on projects, but trying not to stress myself out too much. Like, you guys know what I'm going through. What are you doing? I've been really into my house lately. True. Unironically, I'm really interested in making my house pretty right now. I just changed out all the decorations. I had all the decorations set up for solstice, and I finally got into my decorations and pulled out everything for Lunasa, which is August the 1st. It's the first harvest festival. So I like switched out some stuff that I have hanging in my kitchen. Like I said, I got the vines put up. I finally got all of the vines put up, and that cleared off the space where I was going to put my seasonal like altar space. And so now that's all set up. I'm like, okay, cool. Everything's starting to feel like it's put together. I've been playing Super Lesbian Animal RPG the other day. It's exactly what it sounds like. Okay, cool. Well, what it sounds like is something that might be similar to Harvest Moon, but I think maybe it's not that. Eric says, I'm in the woods. I needed a break from urban life. Mixed results on healing due to not handling the isolation well. Ah, yeah, that was the trade-off for sure. John says, getting ready for my summer festival. Laundry, packing, groceries, camping supplies. Life is a checklist right now. Hell yeah. Thirsty sword lesbians. Okay. I learned all my friends who are in their 20s haven't seen Cowboy Bebop. I haven't watched it since I was very young, enough that I maybe don't remember it. Trying to get my health figured out and apply for jobs. Hell yeah, dude. Yes. Packing, moving back into the Subaru again. Sustainable housing goal is end of the year. Yes. Yes. The end of the year is only 6 months away. Less than 6 months now. I hope that you will get some stability in your life. Naomi and Shakespeare both deserve so many good things. You deserve so much rest. Cowboy beep boop. True. I spend 24 hours a day with my cat and trying to lose weight. Yeah. Cat, you know what's the great thing about cat is that you can use cat as a weight. You know, my cat weighs like 20 pounds, so I can like hold him like this and go, ugh, and do shoulder presses. Ugh. And he's like, and that increases the difficulty because then I have to use my stabilizing muscles a bunch. See? Cats are useful. Doing final render on the latest podcast episode. Yes, we are finally recording episodes of our podcast about Andor Season 2. And those episodes are going to start airing sometime in August. So look forward to that. I think this week we just uploaded our reviewing the 6th Star Trek movie, the original series number 6. And then next is going to be Andor Season 2. It's a lot of fun. It's really interesting. Like 3 people, I feel like Demon Mama and myself have very dramatically different opinions about media. So yeah, like, you know, Captain America, the First Avenger is like my favorite Marvel movie, or one of my favorite Marvel movies. And she's like, I hated this movie. It sucked. And then we were talking on the podcast and we were talking about Rogue One because the movie Rogue One comes out after Andor, or not comes out, but it is the next event after Andor Season 2 is Rogue One. within the canon. So yeah, we were talking about it, and I was like, hated that movie. I tried to watch it. Like after watching Andor season 2, I was like, let's just roll into Rogue One. Couldn't even finish it. And Demon Mama was like, how could you? So that's a fun little moment that you can look forward to. Still need to finish Andor season 2. Listen, it's really good. It's kind of depressing as shit in some ways, but it is very good, and you should watch it if you want to. Yep. I've seen Star Trek 6. I barely remember it. Well, you should watch our video. We will remind you all of its qualities. Honestly, I don't really remember it that well either. Having just watched it and recorded a podcast episode about it like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I do not remember much about that movie. Yeah, Gayfesh says, I'm saying we do a cage match. You have Cap's shield and DM Huff's Rido. There we go. I have Captain America's shield and Demon Mama can huff Rido, and we will throw down. I think, and I will have to explore this when I actually meet you guys in person, but I think that Demon Mama might be like a full, like at least half a foot taller than me. So we'll see how that would work. And that's why I have the shield, I guess. Oh, goodness. So sometimes, a lot of the times our podcast energy is like, yeah, dude, that's legit. I agree with you in that interpretation. And sometimes it's like, I will fight you. I guess that it was just the one time where like, we're hollering at each other a little bit in good fun. All good fun. What are you at? I'm 6'2" and DM is about the same height as me. Okay. Yeah, I'm like right around the middle of the 5 foot range. So you've both got some height on me. Demon mommy, more like maleficent, intimidating mommy. Sure. You guys are dorks. I appreciate it, though. I appreciate how silly you are. It's fun. A community of lighthearted individuals. Got it. You're 5'5", but embarrassed to round up to 5'6", so you're right around. Listen, I actually just am vague about personally identifying information. like my height is on my driver's license, so it's just one of those things that I'm a little bit vague about. 5'7" is average. I don't know. I mean, I thought that like 4 to 5 inches was average, but that's... I guess it depends on what the population skews. I don't know. Man. Are we looking forward to having fewer 90-degree days for the next week or so? Today it's broke 90, but I think over the next week or so it's supposed to be mostly down in the 80s again, which is pretty great. 5'10" is average. I'm realizing that I don't actually know the average height. And like the average height is going to depend on the country. Like globally, I think the average height is much lower if you're looking globally, because a huge portion of the human population is like Asian, and Asian people tend to be a little bit shorter. Yes, varies by country and assigned sex at birth. People always assume I'm going to be short as hell, but I'm like just under 6 foot. It's the short torso, long legs effect. I look little, but I'm not. I don't know if I have tall energy or not. I guess I've already spoiled it by telling you guys roughly how tall I am. But what kind of assumption would you make? Like, how tall do you assume I am? I guess knowing that I was assigned female at birth, like, might influence toward a shorter direction. The average height is at least 2 feet. I would say that's fair. At least. Okay, would have assumed 5'6", 5'7". Okay. I have extremely mid energy. I have extremely mid-height energy. I guess that is kind of perfect, though, because I don't have short person anger problems. You know, the problems that you start to develop when you're, like, 5'4" or below. I don't have any of those. I don't bear the burden of reaching for tall things all the time for short people. Eric says the reasons actually for a lot of Asian countries, especially Southeast Asia, being shorter is about nutrition access and access to childhood health care. Oh, I did not know that. Okay. What I assumed was just like a natural racial difference. It turns out is a product of poverty and oppression. Yay. That does make sense, though. Gotta be honest, I never think about how tall someone is. Yeah, I guess I don't think about it very much either. But there is an assumption, right? Like, whether you consciously think about it or not, you meet someone from off the internet, and if their height is something dramatically different than what you expect it to be, then there is a little bit of cognitive dissonance, you know? Just a little bit. Indonesia and Korea have seen huge variation in height with nutrition access over time, although of course some people are just short. Sure. Totally. Well, I hope that everybody gets to grow up to be tall. Everybody deserves to grow up to be tall, okay? Have you guys been seeing this meme, the I have one daughter meme going around right now? It's like a song that I think what it is supposed to be like a guy hitting on a woman or like talking to a woman on a dating app or something. I think that's the context. Either that or it's the world's most stupid social worker ever asking a woman about her family. But it's the like, it basically is going back and forth about asking this woman if she has a baby daddy. And this is a man singing. Like, I think a man turned a meme into a song and now that's a meme. Anyway, and he's like, the guy's like, hey, do you, how many baby daddies do you have? I think is the opening question. And then she's like, I have one daughter. And he's like, yeah, but is she by the same father? And then the woman's like, and I think the song actually says ellipses, like ... ellipses. And then she's like, I have one daughter. And he's like, I understand that, but is she by the same father? And they're just talking past each other because this person is stupid, right? Like, obviously, if you only have one baby, then you only have one baby daddy, right? So that's the song. But I keep seeing it in a TikTok setting where, like, the person is doing the thing where they're singing the song lyrics, but text is popping up on the screen. So the first one I saw had something to do with disability. And then I saw a trans man do one. And then I saw another trans man do one. And it was like, the text that was popping up on screen was like, oh, are you really a man or are you really a woman or something? And the guy was like, I'm a trans man. And then goes back to doing what he's doing. And then they're like, yeah, but how do you have a beard? It's like, I take testosterone and it grew a beard or whatever. And it's like, it's just you're trying to tell someone something and it's just not fucking sinking in. And I want to do that. I want to do one for non-binary. I think I'm gonna go ahead and like record it this evening if I have time. Just record myself like actually just mouthing along with the lyrics to the song, like I have one daughter, and then like just put in the song later, and then a text voiceover that says like the question someone's gonna be asking me is like, are you a boy or a girl? And I'm gonna be like, I'm non-binary. And then they're gonna be like, yeah, but are you a boy or a girl? Like, are you a man or a woman? And I'm gonna be like, I'm non-binary. And that's gonna be the hook or joke of mine, my spin on it. There have been instances with IVF and gene editing where we've had people who have 3 parents because they have a surrogate's mitochondrial DNA, but I think that's more 2 moms and a dad. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, are you a boy non-binary or a girl non-binary? I'm basically thinking of putting that in there in some capacity. Yeah, but are you a boy non-binary or a girl non-binary? Like, yeah. That's the skit that I'm gonna do. That's the one idea for a YouTube short that I have that isn't like making a fan cam of fucking Amanda Bynes and she's the man. Reminds me a little of the I'm My Own Grandpa song Tom Arnold sang. I don't think I know that one. I think if I were in that situation where I was on a dating site and a man was like, how many baby daddies do you have? I'm like, first of all, that's a bad start to the conversation. But if he couldn't understand that I have one daughter means that I only have one baby daddy, I think I would just block that person. I would be like, you are too stupid to even have a conversation with me. Because imagine trying to tell a man that he's that stupid. He might violently lash out at you. You know, you get to be like careful with that. Because like trying to explain to a man that he's being stupid, and when he understands how stupid he's being like that, genuinely your life could be in danger. The song I'm My Own Grandpa was from the movie The Stupids. Okay, I don't think I ever saw that movie. 2 ferrets trapped in a pair of trousers. Is that are we describing non-binary identity? 2 ferrets trapped in a pair of trousers. So many non-binary people here. Ooh, and we're so close to 69 likes. Ooh, did I add this donation earlier? Yes, I did. Okay, we've gotten $27 in donations today. My goal is to get to $100, at which point I will go find my cat and make him be on camera. Oh, you guys, I'm thinking about posting on Fansly again. I've recently started to feel a little bit better about, and maybe it's just because I do feel like just physically better because my diet is better. But I'm feeling a little bit better about my body, and I'm thinking I want to start posting on Fansly because, I mean, obviously, like, first of all, like, I want more income, but also because I want to feel cute, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take some, you know, sexually charged but still safe for work pictures, and see how shit goes. So that's just like a mini announcement, I guess. I broke up with a girl because she insisted that tryptophan was injected into turkeys by factory farms. Even when I was like, no, it's a basic amino acid that's in everything. So yeah, there's levels of stupid. You should defo swipe left. Yeah, totally. Grateful to have ended up with someone who is relatively intelligent. The Luxander cut on Baldur's Gate, I think, was called Foxtail. Does that include, like, the back is grown out? Because, like, all of the back of my hair is also long. See? Apparently ferrets in trousers is an old Northern England thing. What does it mean? What does it mean? 3 kobolds trapped in a pair of ferrets. True. That's awkward. Oh my goodness. I just need to live a more interesting life. The more interesting life I live, the more things I will have to talk about. Like, let me make this trip to Seattle, and then I'll have a bunch of shit to talk about. Or let me go to the ocean again, and I'll have stuff to talk about. I'm trying to do more things so that I have more stuff to talk about that's not just scrolling. Because it's easy. Listen, the longer you spend scrolling, the more interesting things you have to talk about. Because you're like, oh wow, what about this other thing that happened? And what about this other thing that happened? And now that I'm not paying attention, sometimes you guys are like, hey, this thing happened. And I'm like, oh, let me check. Oh yeah, that thing did happen. Wow, crazy. And then I just don't have any more commentary. Oh, there we go. We hit the 69 likes. Hell yeah, dude. Can I just get like another $10 donation? Or you can go to Patreon, because so I think that I want to, and I've done this a little bit. I just kind of stopped doing the hobbies, but I want to use Patreon to post stuff that is kind of low stakes, but personal stuff that you wouldn't get to see otherwise. You know, like if I'm going to post a picture of my mandala from the other room, I'm going to take a picture of it and post that on Patreon. Okay. Patron only. And then I want to post like pictures of my cat, or if I do a watercolor painting, like I want to post my watercolor paintings on Patreon. So I'm kind of, some of the stuff that I would be showing and telling is going to happen on Patreon, but I do want to like talk about stuff more. You know, if I get into watercolor and I make some kind of observation. Ooh, speaking of, we painted minis on Saturday. It was like the thing that we did literally all day on Saturday was paint minis this weekend. And because we have Heroscape minis that we've primed and they need to be painted. And it was so much fun. We got to do a little color mixing because obviously like we didn't buy a huge set of paints. I mean, it's pretty big. It's got like 30 or 40 paints in it. But that means that, you know, there's a purple and then a pink and no other variation on those two colors. And the purple is like way too dark. So I'm like, okay, I need to mix this purple with a couple other colors and try to not only make it lighter, but also adjust the hue a little bit. Like, oh, I want this to be a little bit more red and not so much like a blue leaning purple, right? So that was a lot of fun, making little artistic choices about painting the miniatures. And we just got speed paints. So the way that they work is you're supposed to only need one coat. They run really thin, and then they kind of catch in the grooves in a way that once everything is dried, it kind of creates its own highlights and shadows, which is really convenient. And that's a lot of fun. And like maybe those, when they get all done, I'll post a picture up on Patreon to be like, look, this is something my husband and I did together. Check this out. Heroscape. Ferret leggings sound like a very short pair of leggings. Yeah, they would be teeny tiny. Okay, so ferrets in trousers is what it says. Apparently they used to tie the bottom of the legs on baggy trousers and then drop in a ferret or two or more and see how long a man could stand the ferrets nibbling on their nuts. Okay, weird. That is not at all what I would have assumed. That's not, you said, you're like, it means what it says. And I'm like, that was not what I would have expected. I thought it was a saying that meant more like, you know, like 3 raccoons in a trench coat. You know, I didn't know that it was like a real thing. That's so strange. Your culture is so interesting, Nikki. As a Britannia, your culture is so interesting. Mab says, I think the point of ferret legging was to see how long you could stand having an angry pair of ferrets down your pants. Yeah, I mean, that's the impression that I'm getting, too. I am so fascinated. I'm 3 raccoons in a trench coat, and they are probably all evil. Fair. Squirrels in my pants? Yeah, I don't know what squirrels in my pants implies. It's like, are you on meth or are you having withdrawals from meth and you got squirrels in your pants? Like, is that what that means? Like, I don't know. It makes it sound like you're itchy and restless. I'm 3 fat guys in a trench coat. Fair. I bet it's warm in there. Seems unnecessarily rude to the ferrets and the person. Yeah. You people are so strange. I mean, I'm strange. This is my fault. I'm setting a bad example for you kids. You kids are in here and you're being weird, and I am not providing a strong example of non-weirdness. So, man, I think I'm gonna have to retire. I jest. No, it means you have actual squirrels in your pants. I know, I mean, yeah, that's what's implied by the surrounding conversation. Squirrels in my pants is actually a Phineas and Ferb reference. Okay. I haven't watched Phineas and Ferb. Is Phineas and Ferb the one where they have the... What is it called? Perry the Platypus? No, you're looking at this the wrong way, Lux. We're here because we're strange. Oh, you're saying that you were strange before you got here? And that I am not a super mega influencer? How dare you undercut the overwhelming strength of my influence. Truly, you were all normal before you got here. And I have poisoned your innocence. Obviously. Just trying not... I'm like fidgeting with my fingernail clippers and was trying not to drop them. I'm sure I will drop them eventually. I thought having a squirrel in your pants meant that your huge package was showing. Is that a squirrel in your pants, or are you happy to see me? Your channel attracts the strange people. True. Yep. We're actually trying to impress our strangeness onto you, Lux. Oh, okay. I'm sure that that's probably working. If I repeat a lot of the things that you guys say, so... Phineas and Ferb is great, but it pisses me off because the universe conspires to gaslight the older sister. Like, sure, she is being an annoying tattletale, but literally just the forces of the universe themselves conspire to make sure her mom never sees what she sees. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I could see that being a little bit uncomfortable. I don't repeat your meows. No, I don't repeat your meows. I will make my own animal sounds if I feel like it. I'm just I'm surrounded by a bunch of stray cats, is what's happening. I walked outside and all these stray cats came around me and started going meow, meow, meow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, hi. Okay, Nikki has offered some more information about what it's like to be a Britain person. So up in the north is where they do the ferrets in the baggy trousers. In the West Country, several people every year end up getting injured, like breaking bones injured, chasing a big round cheese down a very steep grassy hill. Virtually nobody does not fall. So everybody falls. That is very silly. Just chasing a cheese wheel down the hill. That could be fun. So at first, Mabs, when you said we're trying to impress our strangeness onto you, I thought that you were going to say we're trying to impress you with our strangeness, which I would also find very endearing. If you guys were like, this person is strange and I have to be strange in order to make sure that they know that I'm the same as them and to make them like me, I would be like, bet. That's adorable. Nuvenal making the same cat sound that my cat makes. Where is that son of a bitch? We're not anywhere near the donation goal. You can't see him. This actually happened to me once. It was winter, and I had a trench full of random cats that I'd never seen before. They were like, "You're warm. I'm gonna go inside." Okay. It can be both. Yeah, are you trying to impress me with your strangeness? It is quite strange that the Britons have not gone extinct due to their odd traditions. I guess thank goodness they lasted long enough for me to exist now in the exact way that I exist now. Otherwise, the world would have been different, and different means scary. And I don't like different. Everything has to be the way that it is because otherwise I would be uncomfortable. I'm doing a lot of deadpan delivery of things that I'm saying jokingly today, and I don't know how well that's landing. Like earlier, I made a penis-sized joke that may have gone completely unnoticed because Psycho Pleb Alien said something about like, I thought 5'7" was average, and then I made a joke about like 5'7" seems like a lot. I thought the average was like 4 or 5 inches. That was a joke about penis size, but I delivered it in a way that was very straightforward, that maybe just made it seem like I didn't understand what you were saying. I'm having one of these autistic days where that's how I'm delivering my jokes. Yes, this is so accurate. I love this. Adopting a dog. You go to a place, you meet a dog, and he comes home with you. Adopting a cat just crashes through the ceiling. True. I am going to, if we get another cat, which my partner just brought it up again, and I was like, I haven't been thinking about this lately. I don't know if I want a cat right now. Like, I don't know. But if we get one, we are going to do it the way that you normally get a dog, where I'm going to go to the shelter and I'm going to pay $200 to get a cat that's been spayed already and everything. Yeah, I want to support the Humane Society. I think it's really important. And it's ultimately less expensive than just taking in a cat from outside. Listen, there are cats outside. I could definitely pick one up and take it to the vet and find out if it has a microchip and then make it my inside cat. Like, I could do that. Not going to do it because it's potentially more expensive to get all the fixins and the shots and everything. And the dewormer and all that shit. Not to mention, like, the possibility of that cat getting my cat sick. Bean definitely showed up on my back porch going, "Hi, I live here now." And I was like, "Yes, you do." Yeah. No such thing as too many cats. No, there is for sure enough thing. Listen, for a number of years, my partner and I had 3 cats. If they outnumber the people, that's too many cats. Personal opinion. Because, like, they're all people. Like, they're all individuals. They all require attention. You have to know what's going on with all of them. If you take them to the vet is going to ask you questions about, like, how often do they pee and stuff, and you're going to be like, I don't know. I don't pay attention to when my cats use the litter box. Like, one of the litter boxes is in a room that I never go in. Someone else cleans that one. You know, like, it's too many cats. Too many. They need to be like the same number as the same number of people. Your personal opinion is wrong. No such thing as too many cats, I say. Okay, you know, if I can't sway you, then I respect your insane opinion. Like, my partner was like, "Oh yeah, my coworker has 5 cats." And I was like, how does that even happen? Although I think that coworker might have a roommate. So if it's a roommate situation where like one of you had 3 cats and the other one had 2 cats and then you moved in together, I still think that's kind of insane, but like at least it makes sense. And someday you're gonna move out. Soon everything will be cats. Yeah, instead of the future is female, the future is feline. I mean, our 2 bonded pair cats that we had for the longest time were, they were at an RV dealership because someone had sold an RV where their cat had whelped kittens in the closet, and they just sold the RV, and the people who owned the dealership were like, oh, I guess there's kittens in here. And then my partner showed up with his mom, and they were like, oh, we're gonna take those kittens off your hands. And that's how we got those cats. And then the cat that we have right now is the child of my sister-in-law's cat, who got out when she was about a year old and she wasn't fixed yet, and she had a litter of 4 kittens and he was one of them. So, yeah. I live in remote countryside. There are no real predators for cats apart from the odd eagle owl, but normally we know if one is around. Yeah, but the problem is that the cats are still killing birds and stuff. And they kill birds and stuff for fun. Like, they don't even kill only when they're hungry, so they are an ecological problem. People just give me cats. I don't know. I've never gone out with a plan to have another cat. Sure. This would be a first for me. I'm pretty sure all the rest of the cats I've ever had have been... We have a cat who got pregnant and had a litter, or... a stray cat had a litter near us, or I picked up this cat on the side of the road. Like, that is typically how this works. I just think now that I'm an adult, I should be responsible and get a cat from the shelter. I guess if I had more space to quarantine a cat, that would be different. If I could bring a cat in and, like, put it in a room of my house where it can't possibly interact with any of my other animals, and then I can take it in and get it tested for, like, FIV and things like that, then that would be maybe different. But right now, I don't have the space for that shit, so I wouldn't bring a cat just randomly home. Hot take, I don't think outdoor cats are a real thing. Like, they might be okay for a few hours, but I don't think people should just leave them outside for days at a time. I mean, there are definitely, like, yeah, I mean, like, I have known outdoor cats who, like, they'll come inside and chill with you for a few hours or maybe even overnight, but they want to go back outside. And I don't know what ended up happening to that cat. I think, yeah, after, like, 10 years, like, yeah, sure, a fox will kill it, or they'll get hit by a car or something. Like, sure, that'll happen. But there are plenty of cats who are like, I live outside. And especially if they're cats who live in a colony. It's different if you're like, my individual cat goes outside. But if there's like a cat colony, then they live in a socially supportive network of their own. And they have kittens, and they provide for the kittens, and they hunt, and they bring food home for the other cats. And like, yeah, they are a species that is capable of being outside all the time. But I do have concern for individual cats that are owned by people just kind of going outside. I am opposed to letting your cats that you own go outside like that. If they really, really need to go outside, like, okay, get like a little outdoor tent thing. Like, they make like a clear, not clear, but like a screened in outdoor setup that you can put your cat in. Like, okay, cool. Yeah, give him some enrichment time. Build one of those chicken wire things so that they can go out like a doggy door into a chicken coop enclosure thing. Sure, yeah, do that. Don't let them just outside unsupervised. That's bad. I lived on a farm. People dump their unwanted cats in farm country. Yeah. Oh man, there's this one post. Okay, yeah. Here it is. My neighbor told me coyotes keep eating his outdoor cats, so I asked how many cats he has, and he said he just goes to the shelter and gets a new cat afterwards. So I said, it sounds like he's just feeding shelter cats to coyotes, and then his daughter started crying. Oh, that's crazy. I'm in the middle of building a chicken wire enclosure so the cat can go out alone. Currently, he's in a chair next to me on my deck being good. Yeah, Eric is like, my cat can only go out when he's supervised. The second he seems like he's trying to hunt something, he gets put back inside. Yeah. Supervised cat outdoor time, I think is totally fine. I think if you have like a farm, like obviously like I'm interested in potentially having at least enough land where I can grow some food, and I might want some animals as well, and protecting those animals from wildlife and protecting my food from wildlife. Yeah, like I understand why some people are like, yeah, I have a farm cat because otherwise the rabbits get at my lettuce or whatever. You get a rat terrier or something for that. An animal like a dog that is not gonna hunt down birds for fun. Get a small dog to run off the rabbits. I mean, you can say you don't agree that cats have a devastating ecological effect, but they just do. Like, you know, you're like, oh, my cat and all the cats that have lived here have not killed birds. Do they spend literally all of their time outside in your yard? If they are ever outside of your vision, then they almost certainly are killing animals for fun. And like it is a scientific fact that is not my opinion. I mean, I guess it's my opinion that the ecological damage that cats do is a bad thing. But the fact that they kill birds is just not disputable. Or like, yeah, maybe one individual cat is a big fat cat and doesn't kill birds because you can't reach them or something. Um, but it is like, on average, cats are not good for the outdoors. I would snuggle a coyote. I know people hate coyotes because they kill people's pets, but coyotes are really cool animals, IMO. They're neat. I like them. My kitty was a menace. I was the only person she liked. We adopted a cat and she beat her up. Mom got a dog and she beat her up. My kitty beat up on my GFs. Absolute menace. Just like whap, 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 whap. Cats are funny. Letting cats outdoors is bad for the cat, bad for the environment and native species, and bad for humans because they are a potential disease vector at that point. That's true too. Yeah, I mean, right now, like I said, there are cats who live around where I live. I'm like, hey, it's that cat. I've seen that cat before. Whatever. I do not try to pet any cats outdoors anymore because of how fucked up bird flu is right now. So it's like, okay, the last thing I need right now is for a wild cat to have eaten a bird recently or killed a bird that had bird flu. And now that cat has bird flu, and I go to pet it, and I get bird flu on my hands, or I exchange air with a cat or something, and then I have bird flu. Like, no, thank you very much. I'm good. Yeah, and maybe people might think that that's a little overzealous, but like, we are on the precipice of a bird flu pandemic, and that's going to be really fucked up when it happens, and I don't want to be ground zero for that. Coyotes are little yippy wolves. They're cuties. I like hearing a pack of coyotes singing. It's kind of nice. That's more of a Kansas thing, I guess. I don't know. There must be coyotes in Oregon? Yeah, they are apparently prevalent throughout Oregon, inhabiting a variety of landscapes, from urban areas to rural and natural environments. America is on the precipice of an RFK Jr. pandemic. Listen. Oh gosh. It's about to be crazy. I mean, it's already crazy. Like, you understand that even when we're not in the middle of a giant wave, like a giant COVID wave, which we have like 4 per year now, even when we're not in the middle of a giant COVID wave, we still have hundreds of COVID deaths per week that are directly attributable to COVID, and that doesn't even count all of the cardiovascular deaths that are happening more often now. Coyotes sound like they're having fun, at least. They do sound like they're having fun. There are coyotes on this coast, indeed. I actually should have already known that because I was reading the hunting regulations, and coyotes are a fur bearer that you can hunt, I think, at certain times of the year. Which I'm excited to get into hunting. We haven't even gotten our fishing licenses yet. I would like to. My partner's just not seeming very excited about it, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm excited about it, so maybe I should just get my fishing license and go fishing somewhere. Eric says, we have more wolves up here in Canada, which are also cuties, but creepy in how they spy on you from afar. The only sign of them is the eyes glowing back. Very cool, though. Yeah, cute. What you gonna hunt other than deer? I mean, my plan was to start with, like, rabbits, but I honestly don't think rabbit hunting is a very common thing here, strangely enough. I just wanted to start with something small. Like squirrel or rabbit or something like that. That's where I was gonna start. Deer, I'm imagining, is something that I'm gonna work my way up to, because deer are fucking big. So I want to start with my bow, which I can't even use my bow. I could have used my bow to hunt rabbits back in Kansas. It's like a 25-pound bow, but the minimum weight for a bow is 40 pounds here, and I don't think that there's an exception if you're just going for rabbits. I don't think there's an exception that you're allowed to use a lighter bow. I think it's 40 pounds minimum. So I need a different bow. I need new limbs on my bow, basically. And then eventually I'll get a rifle. I don't have one now, but I would like to get a hunting rifle at some point. And then at that point, yeah, I might move up to fur bearers. Like, you know, if I can, like, I really like the idea of furs and, like, having them and selling them, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with myself if I hunt a fox or a coyote. You know, like, what am I gonna do with this? I'm gonna need to think about it a little bit more. Because obviously, yeah, deer is easy. You're like, I'm just eating this. You're not trying to keep any of the parts, for the most part. I guess, you know, the bones. I could also sell the bones. So deer eventually on the table, yes. Potentially pronghorns or whatever else. Like, yeah, I'm open to any of them, potentially. Easier to trap rabbits than shoot them. They have all the ears to hear you and they run fast. Yeah, but they also freeze. They're like, oh, you can't see me if I freeze. So yeah, you can definitely hunt rabbits. But also, I'm pretty sure that trapping is very heavily regulated. Like, in fact, I don't even know if you're allowed to. Are you? It's unlawful for any person to trap for fur bearers, predatory animals, and or unprotected mammals. That might specifically be referring to the steel traps, though. Okay, in Oregon, you can trap certain types of rabbits, apparently, cottontail and jackrabbits, without a special permit. You just need a hunting license. So some species are protected, so you need to be sure you're getting the right ones. Okay, okay. I just know that there's, like, different laws in different places, so maybe there are different rules for trapping here than there were in Kansas. Try a 200-pound warbow. No, I'm good, thank you. Even a 35-pound bow is a little bit of a struggle for me to pull back all the way. think this is an info dump safe space. It is an info dump safe space for the most part. 75 likes now. Hell yeah. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show, for liking. It's quick, it's easy, it's free to hit like on the show. It's not as free and easy to donate, but I do appreciate the donations as well. Man, rent is going to be due in like a week. That has to be the most American thing. Moan about cats hunting, then immediately talk about hunting with a bow and a gun. Oh, you know what's really cool, Nikki, though? And, like, I am gonna be just a little bit of a bitch because I feel like you're being a little bit of a bitch. Hunting is an integral aspect of maintaining an ecosystem. So, my cat has no concept of a bag limit. My cat has no concept of protected species. Hunting that humans do is done specifically to maintain populations in order to maintain an ecosystem. So, like, for example, you're allowed to, like, a certain number of bears are allowed to be killed every year. Like, they sell individual licenses for big animals like that, where it's like, you know, if the bear population gets too out of control, then, or maybe the wolf population is a better example. If the wolf population gets out of control, then that's going to negatively impact the deer population. But, like, if the deer population gets out of control, that's going to impact all of the rabbits and all of the animals that need to live in the underbrush, which is then going to impact the birds and their population, like, because then they don't have any rabbits hiding under the brush breeding to eat them. So human hunting is regulated and is in service of protecting the environment. It is a conservation thing, especially in places where, like, we have displaced wolves. Like, we've displaced wolves in, like, Yosemite Park, and so hunting of the deer is super necessary there. And, like, reintroducing the wolves is something that we are working on doing. But yeah, so there is a difference between me hunting and my cat hunting. Like, my cat also does it for fun, and then, like, will let a bird just, like, die and then rot in the yard, right? Whereas if I'm hunting, I'm going to use that animal. I have to purchase a license to hunt in the first place. I have to purchase the individual tags. Let's say it's a deer. I have to purchase a tag, and then when I kill the deer, I have to specify, am I going to kill a male deer or a female deer? And then when I kill the deer, it has to actually be male or female correspondingly as a specific way of maintaining the population. So, yeah, there's a huge difference, and it is not hypocritical for me to be opposed to letting cats range outside and also think that hunting is an important aspect of conservation and something that I would like to do that will also feed my family and benefit the environment. So, there's a zoo in Tacoma that's basically single-handedly responsible for reintroducing the red wolf to the wild. They have a breeding program. Hell yeah. Actually, wolves are susceptible to poaching, which sucks too. And, like, that's, like, another thing is, like, illegal killing, poaching is serious bad news, and responsible hunters report poachers because, like, the wolf population in Oregon, for example, is negatively impacted by poaching, like illegal killings of wolves while we're in the middle of trying to protect their population. Yeah, my cat doesn't understand the premise that chickadees are protected and can't be hunted. Hence why he just went inside when he was being sus about the chickadee in the driveway. No birds were harmed. True. Good. Oh, I don't actually know if that's true. Noah says a game warden might just straight up shoot you if they catch you poaching. I mean, how would you know that someone is poaching from afar? Because that's one of the things that they do is they go up and ask you, like, hey, can you give me your hunting license? And then you can be like, here's my hunting license. Here's my tag. I'm going for deer or whatever. I feel like game warden, they're very serious people, though. Which I kind of like on some level, but at the same time, I do think that a game warden type person, like, arbitrarily shot someone in Iowa recently or Indiana or something. So they are susceptible to the same kind of, oh, they're cops kind of bullshit, you know? But I respect the work that they do. Always have your paperwork in order, babes. If you're going to go hunting, if you're going to go fishing, if you're going to go kayaking, make sure you know the regulations. Make sure you get any licenses you need. Because, too, as well, like another thing is when you pay money for those licenses, whether it's a hunting license, whether it's the individual tag or whatever, like that money, that's not arbitrary. That money goes into conservation efforts as well. Like it's the taxes that you pay on ammunition as well, the fees that you pay for licensing, the taxes that you pay on ammunition, like they often go toward funding the maintenance of public land. So, yeah, all good things. I know a bunch of native hunters. Yeah, I know that there are some tribes in this area that sometimes they work with the public. And I've seen a couple of volunteer opportunities where it's like, go volunteer with this tribe who are working on restoring this piece of land, or like they're getting rid of invasive plants this day. Yeah, I mean, respect, Nikki. I mean, your anecdote about your personal lawn and whether or not you found a dead bird there, like, cool. Maybe your cats miraculously never kill birds that they're not supposed to. That doesn't make it right in, like, a large-scale setting, you know? And I can't stop you from doing whatever you're going to do. I can just say that the data shows that cats cause ecological damage. And like, yeah, that there is a difference between what I would be doing as a hunter and what my cat would be doing as a hunter. Like, they're just different. And like, I hope, I would like to believe that your cats miraculously have never killed a bird. Sure. I would love to believe that. It just is statistically very unlikely that never in the 32 years you've lived there have you ever had a cat kill a bird. Just because you haven't found a dead bird doesn't mean that it hasn't happened. And it also, again, even if your cats are perfect, little angels who behave and never kill birds, that doesn't mean that it's okay in general for people to let their cats outside. You know what I mean? And yeah, like, cats who go outside live half as long. They're susceptible to diseases. They're susceptible to being killed by animals. They're susceptible to being hit by a car. It's like a higher stress environment, which we know that stress is generally bad for mammals. So yeah, there's just like a lot of reasons not to let them outside. Anyway, cats are adorable, and I see them outside, and I view them from afar, and I say, pss, 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 kitty, kitty, kitty. I don't actually go pss, pss at cats. I think it sounds too much like hissing, so I don't ever make that sound at cats. I know my cat hasn't killed any birds, but he is just a terrible hunter, and least okay mouser. Bugs are about his speed. I still wouldn't let him be an outdoor buddy for conservation and his safety. Yeah, it's just better in general. But okay, everybody, my voice is very tired. I have time to rest my voice now. I will be seeing you all for Takis tomorrow. I'm going to try to remember to post the link. It's me and Arden tomorrow, it should be. So if you like Arden and you like me and you like us combo tag teaming the calls, make sure you tune in at 12 Pacific time tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central time, if you're interested. And yeah, I'll plan to see you then. Have a good rest of your evening, everybody. Be well, and don't get in trouble. I swear to God.